Hey, this is Kamatonga, Bullet Club original, OG, triple, OG, triple.
What's up? It's CBV, Chris Van Vliet, and you are listening to The Junkyard.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 11 of The Junkyard. My name is Spencer Cantor, also known as number 11. So you know this is going to be a good episode. All right, boys, introduce yourself to these fine and wonderful people.
All righty then. Well, if you don't know me by now, what kind of rock have you been living under? And all that. But if you don't know me by now, and you should, I am Dennis Day Jr., otherwise known as DDJ, the host of What Do You Say with DDJ that drops every Monday at 12 a.m. right here as part of the Pro Wrestling Junkies Pod Squad.
Cheap pop.
Got to give the people what they want.
And what the people want, gentlemen, is I, the one and only Jovanni Too Hotty, or Guapo Too Hotty, any way you spell it, any way you say it. It's what they want. And thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we definitely greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming back again, as I said, for episode number 11. Join the Dark Order. All right, so on this week's episode, we're going to get into a breakdown of Wrestle Kingdom. We're going to talk about AEW, NXT, whatever the hell they're doing on WWE. We have a brand new segment we're going to debut for you guys. It's called What would we do if we had the pencil? It came up from Dennis, so we'll talk about it in our weekly roundtable section. And then, of course, I'm going to try to stump these guys with a little trip to class. But let's just get into it. And here's what happened this week in wrestling. All right, so let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. Raw, Smackdown. Raw was terrible for the most part. I heard Smackdown wasn't too great. Let's just start talking about it. The big thing with Raw is we had the Legends night. Basically, just Legends appearing on the screen to pop the ratings. Hulk Hogan came back with his H phone. All the Legends were just in the background. And then, of course, we had to bring back Goldberg. And not just, just to have like, oh, hey, I'm Goldberg and I'm here. It's like, no, I'm Goldberg and I'm here to challenge Drew McIntyre for the title. So it looks like we're going to get Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg at the Royal Rumble.
I weep for this product, gentlemen. I am weeping and dying inside for the WWE because Raw was rawful. SmackDown laid a very rare turd. And God, this is supposed to be your marquee shows, SmackDown kind of had that feeling of it's becoming the marquee show because it's having the better matches, it's having the better feel. Raw has always been awful lately, but for SmackDown to also lay a turd in the same week that Raw was just so unwatchable, the product to me, it's suffering in a point to where I don't know when people start to tune out, but it was horrible this week, guys. To do it justice, I guess we can kind of go through some things that happened on Legends Raw, but there was not a lot of high points. And they teased something that could have been a good high spot. And, of course, the WWE doesn't ever pay off. It's a bad tease.
What was the tease? Because, like I said, I didn't get a chance to watch Raw.
Man, for me, the Big Show and Randy Orton, with Randy Orton talking shit to the Big Show, you kind of felt like Big Show was there. Maybe he would get back in the ring and have one more because he could still go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You had Randy Orton also talking crap to Mark Henry. Mark Henry was on a little knee scooter thing. I don't know if he was really hurt. Yeah. So that probably wouldn't have materialized anywhere. But Tatanka was in full gear when you see him, and you're like, well, shit, is Tatanka going to go against Randy? They kept teasing this legend killer, and all the legends are out there, but it didn't go anywhere. It's like the girl who comes over, and you're thinking something's going to happen, and she leaves after 5 minutes. You're like, why did you even come over then? Why are you here? That's what Raw was this weekend. Why are you even here for the Legends?
Wow.
Yeah. So this is how bad the state of affairs of the WWE is in my eyes. I'm actually more excited for Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre than I am Roman Reigns versus Adam Pearce.
Don't jump to SmackDown yet.
I'm just saying. I just want to get this done and over with quickly because it was. And I'm going to be careful because the last time I said how I felt about Raw, it set some people off in the group. So, and I think
breaking shots on the pod.
Woo, shots fired.
I mean, they're not shots fired when it's the truth. I mean, Raw was garbage, and it's very rare that I will outwardly say that about a show because I've always been more the eternal optimist, the glass half full, always looking on the brighter side of things. But there was just nothing to be able to do that with Raw at all. I mean, you had that god-awful opening with Hogan and the H-Phone. I mean, whoever came up with that should be fired. Whoever wrote that show should be fired.
Whoever okayed all of that should be fired.
Well, that would mean Vince McMahon would have to go find employment because he still has the final say.
How many times have I said he needs to go? I even killed him on one podcast. I'm sorry, Vince, but it has to happen.
He has to, and I mean, and it's just there wasn't anything. I mean, one thing that that really kind of just made no sense to me was the thing with Charlotte and Ric Flair. Where apparently it looked like in that tag match it was Charlotte and Asuka versus Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce. Lacey basically spent the whole match flirting with Rick. Rick looks, Rick being, even though he's married,
hey, DDJ, it doesn't matter. Just like Space Mountain, baby. Oldest ride, longest line.
Yeah. But anyways, so Rick, and the thing is I don't know if he did it intentionally because it didn't look like it was a screw up when he tripped Charlotte. That looked intentional in my eyes. But then, Charlotte's like, stay out of my business and blah, blah, blah. And we're going back to when Charlotte would verbally abuse Ric Flair from like a couple years ago. And then the next morning on Twitter, she's apologizing. And I'm just like, well, what was the whole point of that? If anything, it just made Ric Flair, it just...
there's times, DDJ, where women just get upset and they say things they don't mean. It happens. Everybody's human.
Yeah, I don't get just. And again, we talk about how SmackDown was bad this week, but we've talked about how SmackDown's been really good on a consistent basis. Just every time I see episodes like this on Raw, it just makes me wonder how can one show be this bad, and then how can the other show, which is basically written by the same creative team. They don't have separate teams. This is the same group of people writing both shows. How can one be this bad and this other show be, for the most part, this good?
They made it up to you, DDJ, because they both sucked ass this week.
Yeah, they did, and stuff. And there was actually a couple of good things that came out of SmackDown that we'll get into a little bit later, or that could potentially be good and stuff, But I mean, it's just I can't think of one good thing about Raw other than the fact that it ended.
I'm doubling down with him. Me too, man. The only good thing about Raw was that it ended.
And even then, that ending seemed rushed. I mean, basically, the show ended with Goldberg pushing Drew on his ass, and then that was how the show ended, I believe. Now, supposedly, I think some footage came out where Drew got back up, and but I mean, if you're not watching that stuff, Drew came off looking like a little pitch at the end of that show.
It's what they wanted. That way, when it's spear, gore, whatever the hell they want to call it, flatliner, flatjack, 1, 2, 3, you're not pissed because he already pushed him down like a bitch. He's gonna go out like a bitch.
If Goldberg, I was pissed when I don't know why, but it seems like every time Goldberg wins a title as of late, I get pissed off. When he won when he beat Kevin Owens for the Universal title about 4 years ago, I was pissed. When he beat
you.
No, I am with no way from anywhere close to being, a professional wrestler. But I mean, look what that did to Kevin Owens, and look what when Goldberg, beat the Fiend, and what good did that do? I mean, yeah, Braun beat him, in like 2 minutes at WrestleMania, but still, Goldberg nearly killed The Undertaker. And I mean, and I'm not talking about putting him in a casket and setting it on fire and he ascends to the heavens, and stuff. He literally, legitimately almost killed The Undertaker in that match.
He did.
And
He did.
It's, and then, and now it's just like with this, thing with Drew. I mean, and the reason that they're saying that they're putting Goldberg in the ring against Drew is because they had no one else ready for Drew. You could have saved Keith Lee versus Drew for the Rumble. You could have pulled the trigger on Sheamus versus Drew for the Rumble. Yep. I mean, I know. I think the plan would have been, if he wasn't hurt, it probably would have been Braun versus Drew. But it's just for them to say that they put Goldberg in this match because there was nobody else that was ready for Drew. I think is a big crock of shit.
It is. So. DDJ, do you feel like they're burying Drew now with this match? Either way it goes. Even if he wins, you beat Goldberg. And if you lose, you lost to Goldberg. I mean, is it a way of burying him?
But the scary thing is that could be. But why would you do that to the guy that has literally been carrying your flag during this unprecedented era where they're performing in front of no crowds? I mean, the only guy who I think has been anywhere close to being as good as Drew this past year has been Roman Reigns, and really that didn't start until when he returned at SummerSlam. Drew has been from the beginning from January of 2020 to now, the most consistent performer on that roster has been Drew McIntyre, and I challenge anyone to come up with a valid reason or someone else and provide a valid reason that somebody else other than Drew has been the most consistent performer in that company.
Yeah, there's not any.
So, I mean, it's just there's really, I mean, that's it. I mean, there's nothing else. I mean, there's no point to having the legends there because nobody did anything. They just stood around.
Tataka's still in great shape, though. I mean, he was
absolutely. And that was one of the first things I said to myself when I'm watching that is Tataka looked like he can still go.
They should have put the 24/7 title on him.
I would have been fine with that. I would have made
it better.
Yeah. Did they even do anything with the 24/7 title with the Legends? Because that would have been perfect.
R-Truth won it back, I think, from Angel Garza and that segment with who was Tori Wilson and who else
Melina.
was there? And
Melina.
And it was just like, then there's that, it's like, oh yeah, Cardi B's in the locker room here and stuff like that,
Oh yeah. Is that what started a bunch of like the Cardi B beef on Twitter or something?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess if anything that came out of it was we did get to see the Boogeyman.
I love the Boogeyman.
He basically he scared Angel Garza out of the locker room, and then that's when R-Truth sprang into action and got his baby back. So,
and I'm not how bad Raw is. We like the 24/7 titles thing only. Raw was that awful.
All right,
that was probably the best thing. Yes, I will agree.
All right, well, the 24/7 title is your best thing on Raw. I don't think we need to spend any more time on this. Let's go ahead and get SmackDown over with so we can talk about the good stuff that happened this week in wrestling because there was some great stuff that happened this week. So, guys, tell me about SmackDown and what the hell are they doing? As DDJ has already talked about, it's going to be Adam Pearce versus Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble for the Universal title. And this all became because of a gauntlet match, and Roman wanted Adam Pearce to kind of step it up, and then they put him into the match, and then basically they beat up Shinsuke Nakamura at the end, put Adam Pearce over him. Boom. Adam Pearce is number one contender. I'm going to go ahead and not really give a hot take, but just kind of, I think, a direction this story is going. Adam Pearce is not making it to the Royal Rumble. He will not be fighting Roman Reigns. There's absolutely no reason to. I know he's fought in the past. I think like a 4 or 5 time NWA champion. If they actually gave him the opportunity, it could probably be a good match. It's not going to happen. I think they're going to find some way to get Kevin Owens involved. It's going to be Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns again.
I 100% agree with that. And one thing you just mentioned him in what you're talking about, what happened, but man, Shinsuke Nakamura looked really good Friday night. I mean, if anybody had a standout performance, it was that right there because I believe he won was it he won 2 or 3 matches in that gauntlet?
I think it was 3.
Yeah, and it's just like, and every match was good. I mean, it was Rey Mysterio, and then or no, I think it might have been 2 because it was Rey Mysterio.
It started with Sami Zayn and Rey Mysterio.
And Mysterio beat him in like 10 seconds. Yeah. And then I think Nakamura was next. Nakamura knocked out Rey.
Right.
Yep. Then he would have had to get Daniel Bryan.
But then there was
Baron Corbin.
Baron Corbin. Yeah, that's who it was. Then it was Daniel Bryan.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's so, and Nakamura had a great match with each one of those guys. And I mean that Kinshasa he hit, I think it was the one on Daniel Bryan where he literally hit it out of nowhere. And Corey Graves has always been on point with that move, calling that move, and I think he even mentioned it and stuff. Like it happened so quickly he couldn't even call it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then he stood up to Roman and stuff. So I mean, maybe we're seeing something in the if anything good could possibly come out of this horrible week that the main roster's put on is maybe they might do something with Shinsuke. Maybe they might give him a little bit of a decent singles run and that. So I wouldn't bet the house on it, but I'm trying to find something to grasp onto because there really isn't anything I can grasp onto right now.
So let me start back at the beginning of SmackDown. Roman's promo in the ring, which this is one of his more flat promos. It really didn't have the oomph that he's been having lately in his promo abilities. And then you cut to a back segment with Adam Pearce, who pretty much blows it. And they're like, Adam Pearce is going to be in the gauntlet. And it wasn't before known that Adam Pearce was going to be in the gauntlet. But they pretty much spoiled it and was like, oh, yeah, he's going to be in it. And from that moment in the back segment, where they said that he was going to be in it before it was even talked about him being in it later in the show with Sonya Deville, you already knew right then and there, oh, well, this dude's going to win the fucking gauntlet. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
And then the first match in SmackDown happened. And this match pisses me off so bad. Because I was really on a roller coaster with this match. It was a good match. Yeah. These two guys really did do a good match, but then somebody in creative screwed it up. Okay. I'm talking about the Apollo Crews and Biggie match for the Intercontinental title.
Yes.
They do a weird funk ass double pin situation and they have to restart the match. Now, the very beginning of this match starts off, Big E's looking like a beast. He's really coming in strong. He's going good. But out of nowhere, here comes 50-50 booking. Apollo Crews has to get some moves in, and Big E starts to lose a little bit of that luster. Then we get this fake finish bullcrap where they restart it because Apollo Crews pretty much calls Langston a bitch and slaps him. So they restart the match. And once again, Big E, as soon as they restart, he comes out like a man possessed. He's looking good. I'm like, okay, I'm fine if this restarts and Big E just tears through his ass.
Yeah.
He gets the 1, 2, 3, which should have happened, but it didn't. What happened? Big E goes on his roll, lands the big finale, and Crews pops out. And why? Because Apollo Crews has to get some work in. So they let Apollo Crews then start to dictate a little bit of the pace and a little bit of the moment. And no, gentlemen, that last bit of Apollo Crews making a comeback in that match should never happen. As soon as he slapped Biggie in the face, Biggie should have been able just to tear through him, hit the finale, go home, get the belt, and be done with it. Having Apollo Crews show some life after slapping him in the face makes Biggie look like a bitch. I don't care if after Biggie actually wins and he has the title over Apollo Crews yelling at him like, why'd you have to make me do that? You know, I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah.
But even still, you make him look hella weak by having Apollo Crews slap him in the face like that.
So before we move on to Dennis's thoughts, so that's two people we've said that have looked like bitches this week that have looked very strong in the past. That's Big E and Drew McIntyre. So why WWE making their top superstars look like bitches?
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
I think that pissed me off more than what happened later on in the evening.
I just you guys know me. I've been one of, if not the biggest fans in this group when it comes to this whole thing with Roman Reigns since he's been back. Yeah. I've gone on record to say that this whole thing with Jey Uso and everything is probably the best like storytelling they've done in the last like 20, 25 years.
Right.
And every single step along the way has just been great. Then we hit Friday night. And it wasn't because it's like these guys that write these stories, the booking committee, the writing team, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to quote my favorite TV dad, Red Foreman. I'm going to call them dumbasses. These dumbasses who are sitting there writing these stories, who are probably all from Hollywood, probably have no concept of what pro wrestling is. Which is, that's one of the reasons why this booking is so bad, is because they don't actually have wrestlers doing the booking and stuff. But it's just, I don't understand why they're like, oh yeah, let's just throw Adam Pearce in here. Let's not continue this story with Kevin Owens. Let's just throw Adam Pearce in here for some reason, and it doesn't make any sense. Now, like Spencer said earlier, I agree, and I hope, and I'm praying, is that I hope that we get, yes. For those of you who don't know, Spencer threw up, did a,
the prayer emoji.
Prayer emoji. Yeah, there you go. And that, but it's just, it's just they have to go back to Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns one more time. Yes. I don't even care if Kevin Owens wins or not, but I just throw Kevin Owens in there. It's nothing against Adam Pearce, but I don't want to see Roman versus Adam Pearce. I want to see Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens one more time. I don't understand. And I'm like, you would think that with all these reports, and this goes for Raw too, that USA and Fox are really unhappy with, these ratings that these shows are bringing in. Apparently, must not be a big of a concern in Titan Towers, because I don't know about you, but if someone that paid me a lot of money to put on a weekly show was saying, you need to put out a better show, if basically the people that are paying my salary are like, you need to put on a better show, I'm going to do everything I can to put out that better show, because I want to keep getting that money.
Yeah.
And apparently there's no sense of urgency right now in Titan Towers, and I think that's the biggest problem that, is plaguing this company, is there's no sense of urgency.
And to double down on that with how bad things were on SmackDown, I think when we did our big end of the year spectacular, the Junkies,
yep,
we named, or at least I named, the Street Profits as my tag team of the year. They got the official rub. DDJ did too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they got the official rub. They were on fire last year. And you know what? Why not? It's been a whole year. They've been real well. What are we going to do? Take the titles off of them. I mean, is there any reason besides somebody just out of touch that Dolph Ziggler and Rick Rude should be tag champs right now?
First up, they brought Rick Rude back from the dead.
Bobby Roode, you know what I mean.
Robert Roode.
Robert Roode. Porn stash. Damn it.
But now I just again, I don't actually, I didn't like it, but I mean, there are a lot more things that pissed me off more than, Rude and Ziggler winning the title.
Adding on to the shit fest of the night. It started off with me at Big E. I was pissed off about the Big E situation, and I continuously stewed over it until the tag team titles and then the gauntlet. And I got out of SmackDown talking about, son of a bitch, I wasted 2 hours of my life.
And speaking of, okay, since we're talking about the Street Profits, what, did they run out of blue solo cups? They went back to using the red ones.
Oh, no.
But no, I mean, yeah, I just, I really enjoyed it. I mean, when you think about it, the Street Profits had a really, almost 11 months they were tag team champions between the time they were the Raw champions and then when they traded belts with the New Day.
Yep.
And stuff. Yeah. I mean, that was a hell of a run, and they could have. Maybe they just didn't want the Street Profits to break the New Day's record.
No, DDJ, I have it. They did that for trivia purposes. So now we know who was the first ever champions after a certain year. It's got to be not the people who changed the belts, because it's not going to be the Street Profits. The answer is going to be Ziggler and freaking Rude.
A little throwback to some 3-on-3 trivia, which I stand by my statement on that. But it doesn't matter. We still won that night. Tune in later tonight to see us win our 5th in a row against whoever they throw up against us. So
local jobbers beware.
Yeah, local jobbers beware.
No, I will officially become DDJ 2 belts. So, yeah. So Tuesday night's going to be a good night for the Junkyard.
Absolutely. So we got this episode dropping. We're going to get our 5th win in our 3-on-3 trivia, and DDJ will become DDJ 2 belts. Speaking of 2 belts, because I think we've exhausted SmackDown, let's kind of take a break from the E, and because we're going to save the good stuff for the end. I mean, this is good stuff we're getting into, but let's talk a little bit of Wrestle Kingdom.
There was good wrestling on Monday night, and it didn't come from Raw. Shots fired.
Shots fired. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Wrestle Kingdom nights 1, night 2. Just kind of tell me what your favorite match was, guys, and kind of what you thought of the whole event as a whole. I unfortunately was not one of the lucky ones that stayed up all night to watch it. I did eventually watch it. DDJ did too. Yep. He finally caught up. Jovan, you watched it live both nights, yes. I think.
Such a struggle.
So we'll start with you, man. How was the experience staying up live in the wee hours of the night and then just watching this glorious event?
So what's your secret for staying up? Like, what did you drink?
I took a nap as soon as Monday Night Football ended, and I woke up at 2 a.m.
Okay. Yeah, because I've heard people, they take a nap and then they wake up, because I've done that in the past when like Wrestle Kingdom was on in the weekend. I was able to stay up, but then I kind of didn't wake up in time. Or some people just power all the way through it, and then when they're done, go to sleep.
No, I had to work the next day. I had to work at 8 a.m.
How could you have taken a nap after Monday Night Football when there was no Monday Night Football this week?
Yeah, there wasn't there?
No, you mean Monday Night Raw, probably.
May have been Raw. I thought there was a football game on Monday night.
No, it ended Sunday.
The last week of the regular season.
Oh, so it may have been Raw. It may have been so bad that I thought it was football, and it was actually Raw.
What, like Dallas Cowboys football bad?
Oh, no, like the Chicago Bears.
Or Atlanta Falcons, or whatever team Spencer roots for.
Not the Atlanta Falcons, that's for sure.
Hey,
did the Bears get in?
The Bears are in. They're playing the Saints, or will have played the Saints. Sunday. They probably will have.
They would have lost to the Saints by the time this drops.
But at least the Bears made the playoffs, so.
Suck it.
All right. Back into the Wrestle Kingdom talk.
Wrestle Kingdom night 1. Everybody knows how I feel about one individual who was in one of the starting preliminary matches or whatever. He shouldn't have ever been on the card. Chase Owens, you know where you can go.
I love that story, by the way.
He's such a God. I hate Chase Owens to my core. But night 1 did give us destiny fulfilled, prophecy fulfilled in the ways of the Gorillas of Destiny.
Yeah.
Takahashi came on this show, the Junkyard.
Yep.
And said, look, we're taking the super tag. They're going to be champions. Then we're going to have the Tama for G1. 2021. And they've already done 3 out of 2. 2 out of 3.
3 out of 2?
2 out of 3.
Well, it's like our former guest here on the Junkyard, Tamatanga, once said.
You heard it here first on the Junkyard.
That's right.
It. So that match, man, honestly, I think it may be my match of the night from night 1. Maybe a little bias in there because, you know, we've got the Tama connection, and I do like Tama a lot. But besides from that match, Will Ospreay and Okada. Oh my God.
So good.
Barn burner. And I want that glow in the dark jacket that Okada had. Jesus.
Yeah. While we're on that match right now, I'm going to go ahead and say that was my match of the night with Okada versus Ospreay.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's more just the storytelling in the match because it kind of showed the maturity of Ospreay because Will has been in New Japan for so long.
Yeah.
But this didn't feel like a normal Will Ospreay match.
And I think I was it may have been in our chat or something, but I was talking with someone about that. I said, watching that match, it was a completely different Will Ospreay.
Yep. He felt, it felt like he still had his high moves. He still had the aerial moves.
Yeah.
But the frequency of his mat wrestling and the strong style that he was putting into the match with Okada, it was just another level. And if this is part of the maturation of Will Ospreay, I'm all for it. I've always been a fan of the aerial assassin.
Yeah.
But dude, he's got a long way to go up, man. This kid's glass ceiling keeps getting elevated because you see him as a super junior and you're like, God, this dude's flying everywhere. This guy's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
He goes to heavy. And now he's changing into this heavy brute flyer. And you're like, holy crap, we're looking at someone that possibly is going to be a future champ in JPW, big time champ.
Right. Yep. And I'll go ahead and say this now. I think Will Ospreay within the next, I'll say 5 years, give me enough time there. I think he's going to be IWGP heavyweight champion. Calling it now.
There you go.
I will double down on that and say within the next 5 years, I would not be surprised to see him being the top man in New Japan.
I'm going to be there with you guys, seeing him all the way from where he was to where he is now. He's going to be something real soon.
Absolutely.
That was night one for me, gentlemen. Of course, the 2-belt situation, Naito and the Golden Star, which DDJ is repping over there, so I'll let him take it away.
Yeah, so it's really hard. I mean, for me, it's just it when it comes to my match of the night, because night one was great. And shout out to Toru Yano, who was one of the last 4 men in that match, and he did by the time he didn't even have to get in the ring.
Right.
Yep. If that's not the greatest way to earn a paycheck, I don't know what is.
Yano's great.
But Yano's awesome, and we'll talk a little bit more about him when we talk about night 2, because it was only just getting started.
Yep.
But I mean. So a couple things of note that I want to talk about. First off, for me, like if there's anybody that I saw on night 1, or even actually the whole Wrestle Kingdom event, that's someone that I want to see more of, and I can't wait to see his development, that is the great Okan.
Oh,
yes. I thought that match with Tanahashi was just brilliant. I mean, it was the old veteran and like this big brute of the newcomer, and he worked him over that match. Tanahashi won. It's a classic case where Tanahashi went over, but especially in my eyes, the great Okan got over, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for him, because he could be something very special.
He was the surprising moment of the night.
Yes. And I've heard about him. I've seen clips of him and stuff, but this was like the very first time I'd actually seen him actually wrestling. I know he had a few matches and stuff, but I was very impressed. And like I said, I cannot wait to see more of him. Going into the match of the night, it's so hard to pick between those last 2 matches, Okada and Ospreay and Ibushi and Naito, because both of them were so good. But I'm going to actually go with Spencer and say I'm going to go with Okada and Ospreay. I mean, I was just amazing storytelling. Like I said, again, I alluded to chatting. I think it was with you guys or something. I said, this is a completely different Ospreay. This is an Ospreay that looks like he's, got on his way up. I mean, he's, he got there on his reputation of, all the flips, the dives, and, all that other, stuff that just is amazing in itself.
Yeah.
But man, it was just a completely different Ospreay. And I love this group that he's got with the
Empire.
Thank you.
Great Okan,
Jeff Cobb, B. Priestley.
I believe she was because she was sporting some gold with her. I think she was the Stardom Women's Champion, I think, or something like that.
Oh, can I call a brief pause for the cause, gentlemen? Add Will Ospreay to my Eskimo buddy list.
That list just keeps getting longer.
What can I say? I'm a very equal opportunity person.
So pretty soon, Jovan's list of Eskimo brothers is going to be longer than Chris Jericho's list of 1,004 holds. But no, all in all, it was just a great night. And one thing I want to call attention to, especially with that main event, and this really stuck with me, it was after Ibushi had won. He was so worn that he tried covering Naito again. Yes. And I think it was Red Shoes, the ref, was like trying to tell him, like, no, you won.
You won.
And I love that. I thought that was just a really subtle, but yet just really just significant piece of storytelling, because it just went to show you just how hard fought that battle was. And major shout out to Tetsuya Naito for being the better man in this situation and actually presenting the belts to Kota Ibushi, and basically crowning him the guy and stuff. I mean, I love those types of moments, and that's kind of like we mentioned it with the New Day and the Street Profits, passing the torch. I really think, and especially after night 2, the torch was passed from Naito to Kota Ibushi as to who the man in New Japan is right now and stuff. So all in all, night 1, phenomenal way to start out that 2-night event. And yes, it was easily the best piece of wrestling that was on January 4th.
Yeah, so, definitely. I want to stay on the main event real quick. So yes, the Ibushi versus Naito match. It was great. Dave Meltzer already released it. It got 5 stars. Of course, it was because Dave Meltzer loves to rate Japan matches really high. But
hey, Spence, what did he just out of curiosity? What did he rate, or if it's out, what did he rate Okada versus Ospreay?
5.25.
Nice.
Wow.
So Dave Meltzer agrees that was the match of the night. But sticking back to the Ibushi Naito match, don't get me wrong, it was a great match. They put on the hell of a match. I'm so happy Ibushi has those titles now. It shows you with the story that like told with Naito, how it took him forever to get the belts, and then how this story they finally allowed Ibushi to get the titles. Like New Japan, they know how to do long-term storytelling, unlike other companies.
WWE.
I was trying to, be nice.
I'm not being nice.
Yeah.
After what we got this week, we're not being nice anymore.
Nope. Like exactly. Alice Cooper would sing, "No more Mr. Nice Guy."
Okay. Stop singing. Oh God, no, he's doing the tongue in the rock and roll thing. Jesus. All right. So, but to get back on track, gentlemen, welcome to the Junkyard, where we make going off the rails in art form.
That's right.
Coming soon on a t-shirt near you.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of t-shirts, go buy a t-shirt so we can forward Chris Jericho and all those other high-priced people on our virtual markouts. So go to Pro Wrestling Junkies on Pro Wrestling Tees and buy a t-shirt. If you would have brought it last week, you would have saved 20%. But go buy one. Go subscribe to the crate, save 10%. Back on track. We'll
pay the full price.
Yeah. So definitely, especially because I'm rocking the shirt tonight on the Junkyard. If you see on the virtual, Bushi versus Naito, good match, great match actually. I think I've seen better. I think they did a match at, I think it was the Madison Square Garden show. Didn't they have a match? Ibushi versus Naito.
Yeah, I think that's where Bushi got the one. Did he win or lose the I know they had been trading the Intercontinental title back, but yeah, they had a hell of a match at the G1.
Right.
Supercard.
Right. So, yes, again, great match. I think it kind of disappointed me a little bit. I was expecting more from that moment in that match, but again, it was a great match. The night 2 match, I think, surpassed that match for sure. But before we move on to night 2, I want to give a shout out to one match where I saw a performer I haven't seen maybe much of, but I was very impressed by them, and that was El Fantasma versus Hiromo Takahashi.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that dude, he is going to be something special in New Japan. He definitely he is going to take over the spot for like Will Ospreay and do like the aerobat, all the flippy shit and everything. But he is a great talker in the ring and everything. So I see a bright future ahead for that guy. But Hiromu
pulling out all the big moves from like past leaders of the Bullet Club too. That was a great homage match.
Yeah, that was too sweet.
Too sweet.
See what I did there? Huh?
Yeah, we're alluding to the future there. But and Hiromo, he's Hiromo. He looks great. He is the future of the juniors. We'll get into that in a minute in the night too. And then I don't know if he legit broke his hand or whatever, but it's very possible he could have. But then he went on to face Ishimori for the junior title, which is in night 2. And we're kind of just talking about night 2, guys. Let's just get into it with night 2 now, because we've talked about night 1. Since we started with Jovan, we'll start with Dennis. What did you think of night 2, and what was your match of the night?
Even better than night 1.
Yes.
And for me, the match of the night and actually match of the whole show was no question. I just finished watching this probably earlier this afternoon, as of us recording this and stuff. I have to say, I just no doubt in my mind it was Jay White versus Kota Ibushi. That was just wow. I mean, I don't words can't properly put into context just how great that match was. I mean, both guys just put out. I mean, Kota Ibushi couldn't have been at 100% coming off that match with Naito in night 1 and have come back less than 24 hours later and put on an even better and an even longer match with Jay White. I mean, he probably, what would you say? He probably wrestled almost at least so between the 2 nights, like 75, maybe 80 minutes or something like that, almost an hour and a half.
Almost an hour and a half, I would bet.
Yeah, that's insane.
And just, I mean, it's just if this doesn't, if anybody watching this out there does not think that Kota Ibushi is the man in New Japan right now, I don't know what else would convince you, because I mean, to get 2 convincing wins over 2 top tier talents in back-to-back nights, that they really obviously have faith in Ibushi and feel like it's his time. He is the man. He is the man that is going to be bearing the flag of this company. And I mean, I can't wait. All in all, great show. Shout out to Toru Yano for winning the King of Pro Wrestling 2021.
Yeah,
in a totally Toru Yano way with a low blow.
Yes.
And then I mean, every match on that show was just great. I mean, you mentioned Ishimori and Hiromu. You also had Evil and Sonata in what was a really good match.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it looks like we're getting Sonata's going to be the first man to challenge Ibushi. So that is going to be, I cannot wait for that, because I'm
all for that.
Great match. And then, and stuff. So I just, overall, night 2 was an even better show than night 1. And this, again, match of night clearly was Jay White and Kota Ibushi.
All right, man. Night 2, New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom 15.
15.
This night, man, it had everything. It had a little bit of everything for everybody. There was a lot of different type of wrestling here, a lot of different styles clashing.
Yeah.
Which always adds up to a great product, man. The night 2, definitely the better night of the 2 nights. If you had to only pick one to watch, pick night 2, because I think there's honestly maybe 2 matches that I'm going to say were match of the night, man. Of course, the main event, which took the record for being the longest main event in Wrestle Kingdom history. So,
I think it's the longest match ever in the Tokyo Dome, too.
Damn.
I think. I'm not sure, but I thought I heard that.
Hats off to Kota Ibushi and Jay White. Hell of a story. It had so many false finishes that, Jesus, I was popping in and out of the chair like, that it was a great match, man. If you're a wrestling fan, that storytelling there gave you everything you needed, from Jay White's, just straight up, you're not going to deny me. And Kota Ibushi's like, fuck you, I'm a god. So,
yeah, and he became God.
Exactly. Yep. Great match, but I want to get to a match that DDJ didn't mention in the rundown from night 2, which was my secondary, maybe primary match of the night. That is Jeff Cobb against Shingo Takagi.
Yeah, I knew I was forgetting something. I feel horrible because that was just that was
a banger.
That was brutal, and I'm not talking Monday Night Raw brutal.
Yeah, those guys, my God, they went at it.
Yes.
And I think either that was leading right out of the intermission, and you come into that match, and you're like, oh, okay, this is how the matches are going to go. These are going to be bangers.
Yeah.
And it was everything from that point on, man. Sonata was next, then the junior weight, then the main event. You're just like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
Those last 4 matches alone was better than anything that I had seen in the past few months.
I can agree with that.
Real quick hot take. Do not be surprised if when we do the Junkies for 2021, do not be surprised if when it comes to show of the year and match, when we talk about show of the year and match of the year, that we're not revisiting Wrestle Kingdom.
Exactly.
I think that's a very good possibility that could happen. That's why I'm going to try to, as we go throughout the year, now that we're going to start having the Junkies, kind of write stuff down so I can come back to it. And I can definitely say right now, the way we're starting off this year, 2021, Wrestle Kingdom 15 will be a show I revisit and some matches on there for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
But any final thoughts on Wrestle Kingdom before we move back into we'll go to probably Impact next. But any final thoughts?
That's how you do your main event.
Yeah.
And I have 3 words for you guys. This is wrestling.
Yes.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. So, guys, if you have not already, please go subscribe to New Japan World. Again, it's only 999 yen, $8, whatever it is, conversion rates. Go subscribe. Watch Wrestle Kingdoms night 1 and 2, but if you have to, just watch night 2, even though you should watch both nights. And then start watching New Japan Wrestling because they are putting on some amazing wrestling. The only downside I had with is the crowd was not allowed to make noise. They can only clap and stomp their feet and do the little clapper. So that's it. But other than that, great show. It at least was nice to have a crowd there.
You know what? Real quick, I get why they did that, but honestly, that didn't really take anything away from the ambiance that the crowd provided at that show tonight. Because I mean, Japanese crowds aren't normally, that vocal to begin with, and I mean, there were times where because they couldn't talk or anything that it seemed quiet, but I just thought they found a way to really, to kind of show that, yes, there are people in the audience, there are people live watching this and stuff. That didn't take anything away from me at all.
The only thing that took away from me during that whole show was Chase Owens. I'm done.
Just had to give those shouts in at Chase Owens. All right, let's move on to another show that
Jovan, why don't you tell us how you really feel?
# fire Chase Owens.
Damn.
For those of you who are Cobra Kai fans, Hash Brown fired Chase Owens.
Oh, Hash Brown. Gotta get that Hash Brown in there. Speaking of Hash Browns, even though this has really nothing to do with it, let's move on to what happened on Tuesday night in Impact. You guys said it was a good show. Haven't got to see it yet. Just giving a plug here real quick. We will be doing a Hard to Kill prediction show. Either Thursday, Friday. I'm going out of town next week, but that'll come to you. We'll figure that out. Genesis will have happened by then. We'll talk about that on there too. But we're going to talk about, or these two are going to talk about what happened on this last week's Tuesday episode of Impact. So go ahead, tell me what happened. What's kind of the lead into Hard to Kill?
Giovanni, why don't you start off with that?
Okay, somebody talk.
The show made an impact, DDJ. That's what the show did. Actually,
I like what you did there.
Thank you. I appreciate it intentionally. But what can I say, man? Tuesday's show, honestly, I think it was a few weeks ago we were kind of down on it, and we're like, that wasn't the best impact they had put on, especially with having Kenny Omega. They should have stepped some things up. Then you have 2 weeks full of year reviews, and it kind of, stales out because you saw best of last week. Why are we doing it this week?
Yeah.
But then we got back to the real stuff, gentlemen, the actual meat and bones of Impact Wrestling. Amazing matches, man. I think one of my highlights would have to be the tag team match with Havoc Nevaeh going against Jordan Grace and Jazz. There you go. Doggone it. Of course, Havoc and Nevaeh go over, but that kind of gives us the opportunity to see which I was surprised all along that Jazz was actually in the match or Jordynne Grace's partner. Because as I stated before, I know she's on her farewell tour, her retirement tour. It looks like Hard to Kill, or is it Genesis? Which one was it? The Genesis tonight?
It's at Genesis they fought, yeah.
So at Genesis, I think it would be Jazz's final match in Impact is going to be against Jordynne Grace, and it's a hell of a way to go out for her. Jazz has always been one of the more beefy, strong women in wrestling. Of her day, she probably was the Jordynne Grace of her day. You know, Jordynne Grace is that same stocky, rough, and tough kind of wrestler. So I'm very excited to see how they match up against each other. And I think that was a good booking decision to have them win a couple matches together, then lose to Nevaeh and Havoc, who will probably end up losing to Kiera Steele and Kara Hogan and her partner.
Yeah, Tasha Steele.
Tasha Steele. Called her Tiara Steels. But I mean, to me, I'm not bad with the way it ended up working because the match was fantastic. And it gave us the side match, which is probably the go-away match for Jazz. Let me throw this in here before I toss it to DDJ for something else on the show. But Jonathan Gresham, you made the list.
Wow.
I mean, I don't blame you on that one.
Now? Like 5 or 6?
If we ever put this on a shirt, it's going to be long. So I'm just... I want a 2 Hotty, you made the list, or something. We're gonna have to figure out how to do it.
That's a good one. I'd rock that.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Dennis, get us back on track.
Oh, God. You're asking me to get things back on track?
Yep.
So, well, I'll do my best. But now, Jovanni hit on a lot of good things. One thing that I did want to call upon is we got another really good match with between two guys who have had a great rivalry over the past couple of years, and that's Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards.
Yes.
And that basically led to we're going to get a barbed wire massacre match at Hard to Kill between these two, and what should be the end of this feud. Is going to be intense, and if any of you guys have ever seen a barbed wire massacre match in Impact, they are not weak for the weak at heart. Ask Sabu, ask Abyss, and that. So I mean, it's ask Abyss. I think he's been in 2 of them.
Yep,
and that.
Yeah, Joseph Parker's a crazy FOB.
Yeah, and a very underrated guy, by the way, in my opinion. But
I agree with that.
Hey, Joe, I just realized something. You conveniently left out something in your recap of Impact.
Oh, no.
Is that?
I have him next. I'm just gonna let you get a shot in.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to deny you the pleasure of talking about your man. So I'm going to leave that to you and stuff. So I won't say too much about it. But yeah. I mean, just Eddie and Sammy are phenomenal in the ring. I love when those two go at it.
Yes.
And that. We also got this new Cody Deaner, like, who's basically been falling under the spell of Eric Young, and it's basically leading us to we're getting a 6-man. I think Tommy Dreamer called it an old school rules match, where basically it's probably going to be an ECW style hardcore match. It's going to be Eric Young, Joe Doring, and are they still calling him Cody Deaner? Or just Cody? Okay. Well, they can't call him Cody because I think that would give Tony Khan more fuel to add to the fire. By the way,
you need to call him Cody now.
Yeah, but by the way, this week's AEW commercial may have been the best one.
Yes.
And that
Tony Khan's loosening up a little bit on there. You could tell he's getting more comfortable with the promos.
And he even said something about, I think he said his mom or his grandma gave him money for Christmas, so he's going to be back next week with another commercial.
Yes.
Nice. And I thought that was great. But yeah, no, it's just we're getting that. You mentioned, the Knockouts tag team match. Congrats to Havoc and Nevaeh. There was a really good match, and I think that's going to be a great final between them and Kiera and Tasha. We also had the setup for what I think is going to be a really good women's title match, I believe, at Hard to Kill, and that's going to be Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo. You're basically meeting the two. It's basically a matchup between the two women who have carried the Knockouts division for the last couple of years. So I fully expect that match to deliver. But yeah, just all in all, if you were to take Monday Night Raw and take it to like some parallel universe where bad is good and all that stuff, you basically would have gotten Impact Wrestling, because for everything as bad as Raw was, that's how good Impact was.
Yes.
And that's so let's talk about your boy Moose here.
I gotta do it. So I've got two guys to talk about. Number one being my boy Moose. They put Moose up against some jobber that ripped one of his buttons. Palmer. There you go. And it was a 3-minute challenge. Moose was so confident that he could beat this jobber in 3 minutes that he said, if I don't beat you in 3 minutes, you win. Fine. We're going to make you famous. Come on and get in the ring. Moose dominates this dude and is playing with him the whole time. The guy gets no offense in. 0. But who comes out for the distraction? Willie freaking Mack. And of course, Moose gets distracted, doesn't go in for the kill, doesn't get the pin. 3 minutes come up, and the jobber, Palmer, rolls out of the ring with Willie Mack. And Willie Mack's like, I didn't do anything. That's all you for not finishing him. And Moose is like, you know what? That's fine. That's your ass when we meet in this I Quit match. So, fueling fire for that I Quit match. I am very, 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 very interested in seeing how physical Moose is going to be, because we've seen him be really physical lately.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
So it's going to be good, man. I'm a big Moose fan, and they did show that Moose is getting a micro brawler exclusive to Impact. I'm going to have to get that one, and no, it will not be opened.
You're not gonna let him out?
Open my Moose brawler.
No. No. But another thing, man, we might be getting another cinematic match at Hard to Kill, because it has been made official. We are getting All Ego Ethan Page versus the Karate Man. And I love the Karate Man so much.
Who doesn't?
Stone-faced in the chair while Ethan Page is just going off, and you just see him. He's just, maybe it's your ego. Dude, if Ethan Page isn't long for Impact, which I think we all pretty much are figuring he's not.
Yeah.
This is the way to go out, man. Get all your characters out there. Hell, I even want to see, if it's your farewell, freak it. Bring out Julian. You know what I mean? The vlogger Julian. Bring them all out. Bring all 3 of the guys out. Go.
Yeah.
You're forgetting a character, Jovan. What about Chandler Park?
Bring them all out. Go freaking 4 faces of All Ego. I want to see it. This would be hilarious. But I don't know how they're gonna do the match with All Ego Ethan Page versus the Karate Guy. But I'm down for it, guys. I like this crazy crap.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like it's gonna be very interesting. I think we've touched on most of everything Impact. We do have a big match tag team coming up at Hard to Kill. What happened with my boy Kenny Omega on Impact this week?
DJ?
There was more. I mean, I really love what they're doing with this, and obviously we're going to talk a little bit more, because the things for this group with the club, they didn't end on Tuesday. There's a little bit more to end that. So I just, I love it. I just think that this is, again, if you're not excited about this, it's just, then why do you even watch wrestling? Because I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we dream about.
Mm-hmm.
We do when we fantasy book, and we get the action figures, and we get the WWE wrestling games, and we create our characters. We create these types of scenarios that we're actually now getting to see on TV every week, and it's been it's been well done. They've definitely done it hella better than the WWF Invasion storyline.
God,
that's not too much, but I mean, it's just I love this. I mean, we're getting more of this. I mean, it's just I'm so excited. I'm stumbling over what to say.
It's
great.
Yeah, it's a very exciting thing that's happening here, and we will come back to that. But we're gonna we'll move on to NXT next after this because I want to kind of take a little breather from this. But yes, everything that is happening. If there's one more thing at Impact, you can go ahead in a minute. But everything that is happening is just, it's crazy to just see what is happening in the world of wrestling, not WWE because, they don't know what the hell they're doing. But everywhere else is like starting to fire on all cylinders. And I'm so glad, like, even with, some companies still don't have no fans. Some companies are still just slowly coming back. We're figuring this out. In 2021, even with all the crazy shit that's already started this year, 2021 is going to be a fantastic year in wrestling the way it's starting.
Yes.
Just imagine how much cooler this would be if these things were happening in front of actual crowd.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah. But one thing I want to kind of just before we move on to NXT or not NXT, well, whatever, we move on to Wednesday. One little line that really got me was when after the Machine Guns and Rich Swann went to try to go, went after Omega and the Good Brothers and got beat down. Kenny Omega made a hell of a joke when he said these baby faces are easy to kill.
Yes.
I thought that was just hilarious and stuff, and I just wanted to call a little attention to that. And it's just, okay, so whoever wrote this, came up with this storyline or whoever it was, be it Don Callis, Tony Khan, whoever. Bravo.
Yes.
And whoever thought this is a good idea. Hulk Hogan starting off Monday Night Raw with the H-Bone, not a good idea. Pay attention, WWE, because you guys are being taken to school right now.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the only bad thing about this is like not a lot of people are seeing this. Hopefully, maybe Impact can get it like on a more mainstream network, and then AEW is on TNT. They're already doing their part, and they're starting to get ratings. Had a little slip up with shit that happened on Wednesday night or Wednesday in general. But hopefully with the product that Impact's putting out, maybe they'll get a new TV deal or something. And also, we totally forgot to mention this, or even I just remembered it. New Japan might be getting a TV deal in the U.S., so there might be more U.S. fans getting exposed to the New Japan product because we've had like New Japan Strong. I think it's either on like Access TV or New Japan World. But if they can actually get like a stable network, maybe like a big network, whenever that news comes, that could really help the product for sure. And especially with everything that might be happening, like with AEW, Impact, it would be very important to have a big network or just be on a more mainstream network. 2 words would describe New Japan getting a stable TV deal here, especially if they get involved in this whole AEW Impact crossover. Game changer.
That you're going to go down with Too Sweet again.
It would be Too Sweet and a game changer.
I don't like to recycle my humor, so I like to keep it fresh. Oh, well, that's a load of crap, but whatever. All right, so that's Impact. That's Impact. Let's move on to Wednesday night. We're going to save AEW for last because I'm going to save the best for last there. But NXT was definitely... That was a hell of a show. This is I've watched in the past few weeks, but I actually sat down. I watched the whole thing. I thought this was an amazing way to kick off the new year with NXT. Probably it wasn't a takeover. We got an announcement. Takeover is going to be on Valentine's Day. So for all you lovers out there that love wrestling, cozy up and watch some NXT there. Jovan can think about all the guys he wants to be Eskimo brothers with. Okay, let's go ahead and start this because I can already tell somebody that's going to be added to your list right away, and that is Karrion Kross versus Damian Priest. Jovan, go ahead and say it.
Karrion Kross, you're on my list.
Damn straight he's on your list. If he's not on your list, go get yourself checked out, or if you swing the other way, cool, that's fine. Scarlett Bordeaux, hello. But
smoke show.
Smoke show indeed.
Smoke show.
Yeah, there's no other word that describes her. But getting back on track. So that match, it was Karrion Kross versus Damian Priest. Good match for sure. Karrion Kross got the win. He looked dominant. I think there's bright things in store for Karrion Kross. He was NXT champion for like a day, had to relinquish it. I definitely could see him getting that title back in 21 for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he will. He will.
He's coming for it.
Right. And then there's been rumors that maybe Damian Priest and then one other person we're going to be talking about here soon might be heading up to the main roster. So if this is his swan song, or at least coming towards the end, thank you, Damian Priest, for your time. See you later. This is Karrion Kross's time now.
Oh, you bastard.
For those of you who aren't who just didn't catch that, I just got called a bastard by Jovanni because I took with Scarlett at Starcast about a year and a half ago.
She was there, and let me tell you, I was so freaking intimidated by Killer Kross at the time that I was like, shit, he's gonna catch me looking at his girl, and I'm gonna get my ass whooped. He's gonna catch me looking at her, I'm gonna get my ass whooped.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Jovan. Dude, those two couldn't have been any nicer.
Damn it to hell.
Yeah, I'm dead serious. I mean, Killer Kross, Karrion Kross, whatever you want to call him, he comes off as this real menacing looking dude, but man, he couldn't have been any nicer. And Scarlett is about as sweet as you get when it comes to like the women wrestlers that I've met. I mean, they're incredibly happy for all the success they've achieved over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Going back,
I see what you did there, Jovan.
Yeah, but no, I'm sorry. I just had to throw that out there, Giovanni. If you want to keep on going talking about NXT.
So, possible swan song for one Damian Priest. The Junkyard would like to formally send our condolences to Damian Priest for what his career is about to do on the main roster.
That's not the only one we're probably going to be sending out condolences to tonight.
Hell of a guy, man, but geez Louise.
Right.
Funny thing is, I didn't watch all of NXT. I saw Karrion Kross on there, and I saw the main event.
Okay.
Other than that, man, I haven't really watched all of it. What else happened there throughout the night, gentlemen?
Okay. Go ahead, Des.
I feel like Spencer.
Yeah, you feel like me when I'm left out and I don't watch all the wrestling, so I get to be you tonight or today.
So wait, Giovanni, does that mean you're going to add Spencer to your list?
No. Spencer's not on my list. How would that work?
That doesn't make any sense. Never mind. Just
yeah. Anyways, if that's all you saw, you missed the match of the night from NXT because that women's match with Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley, that to me was the match of the night. It was even better than the main event.
Oh, wow.
Those women went out there and literally tore down the Capitol Center. And in that, I mean, it clearly that match accomplished its goal. Raquel Gonzalez is legit. She has been made. She is event. I still believe. I truly believe, and I think I mentioned this before. I really think she is going to be the one that takes the title off of Io.
Can be.
DDJ, you stole my thunder, but I'm doubling down with you. Raquel Gonzalez is going to be NXT Women's Champion sometime this year. I have a feeling they are building her up. And we got the announcement for the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And I'm pretty sure I think Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez are going to enter that tournament. Don't be shocked if those two women win this tournament.
Would not be surprised. And we also got the announcement of all the teams that are going to be in the men's Dusty Cup, and that's actually going to start next week. When this drops, it'll be tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yep.
I believe we've got Everrise versus my pick to win the tournament, the Grizzled Young Veterans. And then we've got the Undisputed Era comprised of Adam Cole and Roderick Strong against Breezango. And that should be a great match. And then they just announced, I believe it was either Friday night or Saturday night, that the tournament's going to continue on 205 Live. So I may have to watch 205 Live for the first time in forever.
Okay.
I didn't know it was still on.
All right.
But I mean, it's just, and that's so it's gonna be a fun time in NXT because the Dusty Rhodes tag team tournament always is a great watch. The winners will be next in line to challenge for the NXT tag team titles. They're currently held by Oni Lurkin and Danny Burch and stuff. I just think it's going to be a fun time. I love the fact that they're doing one for the women's.
Yeah.
I may see what the teams are for that because obviously you guys Spencer pointed out that we're going to get Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez is one team. And I think another obvious team is going to be Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell.
That's too obvious.
And that's so. But I mean, it's just a great show. You mentioned about Karrion Kross versus Damian Priest. Was a great hard hitting match. And then we already sent all our condolences to Damian Priest on his what his career is about to become. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for Rhea Ripley.
Force them out for Rhea Ripley.
It's just, pour one out. But I mean, it's just, as a Bears fan, Chicago is known for the place where wide receivers go to have their careers die. Coined by former Bears and Carolina Panthers receiver Musa Muhammad. Same thing can be said for the main roster, more specifically Monday Night Raw, where NXT wrestlers' careers go to die, and we're about to see two more go to probably to be laid to rest. But again, NXT was a phenomenal show, but I mean, NXT had the match of Wednesday night, but it did not have the moment of Wednesday night. We're probably going to get into that in just a little bit here.
We will. I want to give a hot take here tonight. So we said Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, there's reports they're going up to main roster. One of those people are going to succeed, and one of those people are going to fail. I think Damian Priest, he's going to do okay. He's going to be the one that fails. Rhea Ripley is going to go to SmackDown. Possibly, I've heard rumors she might be Charlotte's heavy or something. But she is going to be the one to break the stereotype and actually have a successful career on the main roster and win gold. Calling it now.
I 100% agree with that, but I just, like I said, I don't know if I would put her on. I think it would make more sense for Rhea to go to Raw, and this is why. Because if you put Rhea on SmackDown, I think that totally is gonna kill off the momentum that a certain Mrs. Montez Ford, aka Bianca Belair, has been slowly building up. And I just think if you put Rhea on SmackDown, I don't see that being smart because I think it's gonna kill Bianca Belair, and Bianca has quite a future in the WWE, as does Rhea Ripley, and I think it would be smarter to put Rhea on Raw. That's just my opinion, though.
I'm going to take the opposite side of that coin, gentlemen. I do believe that Rhea Ripley is actually going to be the one that flounders on the main event in the main card. And Damian Priest is going to be a champion, albeit probably a secondary title. I don't see him getting pushed to the upper ranks. And the only reason is because of his look. Vince kind of likes those big monsters. Normally they get pushed to the moon when they make their debuts. So don't be surprised if Damian Priest comes in there like a rocket and then fizzes out really quickly. But I think Rhea will have the longer, better career.
Okay. And see, the reason I wouldn't put Rhea on Raw is because there's a certain superstar that she's had a feud with in the past that kind of took a title off of her when she should have actually never won that title. That was Charlotte Flair. So I think we need to kind of keep those two apart for right now because we're going to get that feud eventually again. But I don't think we need it right away. So kind of keep those two off brand. So, I mean, Jovan, I'm going to take one from you. Since we're talking about Charlotte Flair, Andrade, you're on my list.
Oh,
nice.
Especially with the upgrade Charlotte had. All right.
Yeah, I must say the upgraded Charlotte version is better. Charlotte 2.0.
Yeah. Okay. So before we move off NXT, because we still haven't even talked about the main event. So here are the teams that are in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic for the men. So we have some of these I don't know, but this is what we got. So we have August Gray and Kurt Stallion. We got the Bollywood Boys.
Yep.
They're winning.
Breezango, Drake Maverick, and Killian Dane.
Mm-hmm.
Ever Rise. Dennis has picked to win the cup. Grizzled Young Veterans. Imperium. Jake Atlas and Isaiah Swerve Scott. This one's going to make Jovan very happy. Kushida and Leon Ruff.
Yes. They're pairing Kushida.
That's an interesting pairing for sure. Legado del Fantasma, Joaquin Phoenix, and Raul Mendoza.
Don't you mean Joaquin Wilde? Joaquin Phoenix was that's the guy that played the
Joaquin Wilde, sorry. I just saw Joaquin, just thought Phoenix for a minute there.
Anytime you just see the name Joaquin, you can automatically assume it's Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, you see the Joker, it's like, it's Joaquin Phoenix. All right. The Undisputed Era, as we talked about, and then of course, this one could be an interesting pick possibly to win it. The Way, Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory.
Guys, it's going to be the Bollywood Boys because NXT India is about to open up. They need something to hang their hat on. We're giving you the tag team champs who won the Dusty premiere. Go make your names out in India. Congrats. Here's the big Kali and the Maharaja.
Yeah, Ginger comes back for that.
Yeah.
Hey. Don't hinder the gender.
Oh, that's a short for that one. All right. Talk about a few more matches, then we'll get on to the main event because we still got AEW to get to. That's okay. So we had we had Grand Metalik versus the Cruiserweight champion Escobar. Yeah, Santos Escobar. I was about to call him that dude, his name from Lucha Underground. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. But yeah, so they put on a match. The arrow move was insane when he did that. Like he just shot at a rocket that suicide dive. But anyways, Santos Escobar beat Grand Metalik because there was no way he was losing this title. Dude looks dominant. I think he's going to hold that title for a while. I don't really see a viable contender to anybody right now to his title. And you can interject when you want to. Then we had the Way celebration after Johnny Gargano beat the Curse and beat Leon Ruff.
The curse has been broken.
Yep. They had a whole celebration with it. Austin Theory presented Johnny Gargano and Candice and everybody with like a picture of them being like superheroes. Austin Theory looked really big. But then to cut the celebration short, Shotzi Blackheart came out. Austin Theory got hit in the balls because, we had to have a ball shot. Then Kushida came out, and then our host of the night, Dexter Loomis, he made a match, and he didn't just do it any normal way. He was like put a little picture of a drawing. We had Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano versus Kushida and Shotzi Blackheart. So then, of course, it became official. Good match overall. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I forgot Kushida was on NXT because I haven't seen this in a while. I was like, oh yeah, you're still here. So honestly, they need to
utilizing him.
Yeah. Oh, seriously, that's like one of the most underutilized superstars on the whole WWE roster, more than Ricochet, is Kushida, and it's a damn shame because that dude is a legend in Japan, like Nakamura. But so it's Kushida and Shotzi Blackheart got the win over Candice and Johnny. So Kushida might possibly get an opportunity at that North American title, maybe at TakeOver. We'll see. And Shotzi probably will fight Candice at one point there. So that's mainly everything that happened there. Now we're going to get on to the main event because, like I said, we still got AEW to go to. But so we had Kyle O'Reilly versus the Prince Finn Balor for the NXT title. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen the first match from TakeOver 31. Heard it was great. I want to go back and watch it. Yes, I already knew that was coming. But so I watched that match. I'm going to go ahead and say this now. And Dennis has said it and has stood behind it on this podcast multiple times. Kyle O'Reilly will be NXT champion in 2021.
Yes.
The way he performed in that match, just everything. And then that one, I want to talk about this one spot where he is in a hold. He can't use his hands. He can't use his feet. He puts out his teeth and grabs the ropes.
Yes.
Finn Balor, being the smart veteran he does, he kicks the ropes and it caused O'Reilly's jaw to get hurt. and then that's basically the story of the match is like O'Reilly's trying to protect his jaw. And of course, Finn had the broken jaw. So they were both honestly trying to protect their jaws in the match. But more O'Reilly because his was fresh because he got kicked in the teeth. And then I legit thought like maybe when that doctor got involved, it was storyline, but they were really checking on him. It's like, dude, no, get off me. Let's get back to this.
Yeah.
But hell of a show. Those two put on a great match. Definitely go back and watch that. If you didn't, go back and watch this whole show. It was great. Jovan finished the show. But great match. Kyle O'Reilly will be NXT champion, hopefully in 2021. I doubling down with DDJ there. And he has the potential to be such an over babyface. Like he's been great as a heel with the Undisputed Era, but if you're gonna do it, and I just have a feeling it might be coming sooner rather than later because they're saying, "Oh, we're gonna go on this prophecy to get all the gold again," and they can't keep do it. And then when the Undisputed Era loses the Dusty Cup, it might be the beginning of the end for the Undisputed Era. And then I think Kyle O'Reilly will get the big push out of that and become champion, become over babyface, and carry that brand.
I'm going to take the opposite stance of you guys, though. Both of y'all saying O'Reilly's going to be champ within this year. I'm going to say Kyle O'Reilly is not going to be champ within this year because honestly, if he was going to become champ, it should have happened Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a legitimate reason why he couldn't have won. His matches with Balor have been great. Balor loses nothing in the loss.
Right.
And if the long term is to have Killer Cross, Karrion Cross, whatever you want to call him, my Eskimo buddy. If you want my brother to be champion, I'd rather have Kyle O'Reilly take that loss than Finn Balor if you're trying to still preserve Balor. But if you're going to have Balor be the one to drop it to Cross to preserve O'Reilly, O'Reilly's story maybe plays out within the next 2 years instead of this year.
I could see that.
Yeah, I enjoyed the match. I thought the match at TakeOver was better.
Yes.
One thing I did notice that was after the match, it kind of almost looked like, that, the Undisputed Era, they were all like trying to console Kyle, and it's just Kyle looked like he didn't want anything of it. So I think he's getting that. And maybe we might get one more match with Kyle and Finn where maybe Kyle finally wins the big one and stuff. Because it just had that Kyle's kind of got that doubt in his mind. Is like, he's got that, can I win the big one? And I think that's kind of entering his mind, So I definitely, maybe this isn't the last we see of Kyle versus Finn. Maybe we get one more match between these two. And maybe this is where Kyle finally wins the big one. But yeah, I don't think we've seen actually the last of these two in the ring. But yeah, shout out to both men for putting on a hell of a main event that went uninterrupted. Commercials or anything, which was great because, really did that match justice by going that route and stuff. But yeah, just overall, I really enjoyed, that match, that whole show. And it's just, but I just wanted to just kind of throw a little bit in there, but I think I'm pretty good on that end.
Okay. And we know Jovan is because he didn't finish the show.
I watched that match. It was a good match.
Oh, okay. So we actually watched that match.
I just didn't watch everything in between.
Okay. Finn Balor, you're on the list.
Who's he going with?
He's like some Spanish reporter. She's pretty good looking.
On the list?
He's on the list. All right. So that's NXT. Let's get on to AEW. So we will kind of get through all this first, and then we're going to get into what everybody wants to talk about. And we've made you stay till the end because we know what you guys want to talk about this. But let's start off with
smart.
Huh?
It's called being smart. We save the good stuff for the end to keep them here.
Yeah, that's right. We got to give the people what they want, but we got to make them wait.
And this time we're not Jovanni. This time they're not talking about you.
Oh, they're always talking about me, buddy.
Oh, man. All right. So
we are talking about you.
All right. So the first match on AEW New Year's Smash Night 1, we had the Young Bucks and SCU versus the Acclaimed and the Hybrid 2. It was a good match. Acclaimed, Hybrid 2 looked good, but of course, Bucks and SCU go over. There's a storyline that's happening on Dark that actually carried over to the main television show, where if they lose a tag team match, Chris Daniels and Kazarian would disband and never tag together. So they mentioned that after they got the victory. So it was nice to see them bring that back, because again, no one watches Dark sometimes. But
Dark.
Yep, nobody watches Dark. But yeah, good match. Claim looked good. Hybrid. These guys all know what they're doing, so it was nice to see the Bucks and SCU carry those teams for sure. But and I'm going to kind of run through it. If you guys want to interject, just go ahead.
Yeah, go
I'm
for it.
trying to get to that. Trying to get to the big stuff there. All right. So then next up we had Jon Moxley. He came back.
Yep.
So there's one point. Okay, so he did the promo, saying, you screwed me, Kenny. I'm going to come after you, but you don't know when I'm going to come after you. But he mentioned one specific wording in his promo, because going back to Wrestle Kingdom, he did his promo before the Kenta match, where he was saying, yeah, I'm coming for whoever wins this match. Kenta won, of course, but he said, oh yeah, the boogeyman's coming for you. You'll never know when it's going to happen. And then he also repeated that phrase, the boogeyman is coming for you, on Wednesday night. So correct me if I'm wrong, have he ever called himself the boogeyman on AEW television?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so kind of maybe I don't know if he did that on purpose, or he just kind of like, oh man, maybe he just remembered he said that or something. But I think I might be reading too much into it, but it could be like the start of maybe and I think the gate will open this year, but I think it's like just a little tease, just that interaction, call himself the boogeyman and stuff, like his New Japan character and his AEW character kind of merging a little bit.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
All right. So then there was that. Then we got on to Battle of the Inner Circle, Wardlow versus Jake Hager. Two hosses going at it.
That was a great match between those two guys, by the way. Very, very, very well done.
Yes.
Easily, I would probably say that was the best match by each of those guys since they've been in AEW.
Yes.
I would agree with that. Wardlow's first match with Cody, it was good, but it was like him trying to get all the nerves and everything out. Of course, he had to try to catch Cody when he did that moonsault. But yeah, these two, they definitely look good. Jake Hager made Wardlow look great in this match. He took that F10 as a champ. Wardlow is going to be something in AEW. Yes. I'm glad, they put him with MJF and now he's with the Inner Circle. So I see big things for Wardlow in 21, the way they're going with him.
Agreed.
All right. So Wardlow got that victory over Jake Hager. And then, of course, the Inner Circle, they all hug it out or kind of fist bump at the end. So everything's all good there. So there's no more problems in the Inner Circle. Everything's going to go smoothly.
Right.
Until it doesn't.
Right. And then even after that, MJF came to see Jake Hager, and he was like, oh, yeah, buddy, I know you're not. And Jake Hager was like beating all the doors because he was pissed he lost. That's just his fighter mentality. But, MJF said, hey, buddy, you did a good job. And he was like, or Hager said, I was going to beat your ass, but it takes a lot of balls to come in here and, say what you said. So, man, I appreciate you. They pounded it out. So they're good there. So, it's nice to see that little character direction from MJF coming to check on Jake Hager. So nice little character development there.
Again, Jericho on commentary is
golden.
Yep. There's no debating that one. All right. Next, we had the Darby Allin and Brian Cage weigh-in. So if you guys didn't know, of course, they retired the TNT title because to Brody Lee's family, TNT champion for life. Respect, great job. That's what they should have done. Then they were like, okay, so we need a new TNT title. It wasn't a new TNT title. The only thing that was different was they changed the red strap to black. And I don't know about you guys, but just that one little change, when Darby came out with it and they showed it, I was just like, that just looks 10 times better.
Agreed.
Yes.
So, I mean, I get why they did the red in the beginning, but just because of the circumstances and them changing it to black, it's a big upgrade. So I'm glad they did that. All right. So then, of course, we had the weigh-in. Tony was like, hey, of course, Taz or Brian, you're first. Get on the scale. And Taz was like, no. Why is Brian got to get on first? So then, of course, they have a little back and forth. Then Brian weighed in. He was like, 275, whatever. Then Darby got on. He was like 170, so 100-pound difference. So like, that wasn't even really a big story. So then, of course, they're about to brawl. And then, of course, Sting comes out and then is coming to the aid of Darby Allin. So then the commentary team is like, oh, we don't know where Sting's allegiance lies. So him coming out to Darby is kind of signaling that they're together. So Darby and Sting supposedly are together, but I think we'll for sure find out night 2 next week that they are working together for sure.
That is going to do nothing but wonders for Darby Allin's career.
Yeah.
I hope it does more than just stand there, because I'm kind of getting tired of just, it's Sting! And Sting just stands there, and everybody's like, oh shit, it's Sting. Let me watch.
Yeah. Yeah, the effect of Sting is slowly wearing off, so something's got to happen pretty soon for sure.
Hit somebody with the bat, for Jesus Christ's sake.
Yeah. All right. Next we had, this is a pretty good match. We had Cody Rhodes versus Matt Sydal. This was the big one because all night they were promoting the Go Big show. This is the one where Snoop came out instead of Arn Anderson being Cody's manager. It was Snoop Dogg being Cody Rhodes' manager. So he had, Jericho called up, oh man, he's got the Waffle House menu. So he was calling the plays for Cody. The match between Cody and Matt Sydal, it was great. It was nice to see Matt Sydal get this big spotlight because he's, ever since he came to AEW, he kind of had, got a Raw deal because, he had that bad landing when Michael Nakazawa slipped him on the top rope when he went for the shooting star press.
Make sure you called him out on that because that was all because of Michael Nakazawa.
I know. I remembered this time. But I mean, he's been on Dark, but again, no one watches Dark. But it was nice to see him on the main product.
You kill me every time he says no one watches Dark. I'm like, dude, I watch Dark.
I know, but come on, it's a running joke.
Like he said, nobody watches Dark.
Oh, drink water.
Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, it was nice to see Matt Sydal get that spotlight. Then during the match, Cody, I think he throws Matt Sydal into that crowd, and Serpentico and Luther were there. Yeah. So then, Cody pins Matt Sydal after 2 crossroads, and then of course Serpentico and Luther come in and attack them, and then they set up Luther. I think Serpentico. Cody signals to Matt, hey, go up and do the shooting star press onto Serpentico. And then Snoop Dogg's like, no, I got this. He goes to the top rope. He attempts to do, I think, what it was supposed to be a frog splash. And then he does and because he's so tall, he jumps down. He does kind of like a knee drop or whatever. That's supposed to be a frog splash. It just looks awful. And of course, it's like Snoop Dogg, we're just going to blow it off. It's fine. You did great to go to the top rope. So that was great to see. And it's just like,
it wasn't the top rope, Spencer. He was on the second rope.
Okay, sorry. I thought he made it to the top too.
I swear it was the middle rope. I saw him fall off the middle rope. Somebody look it up. I couldn't believe it.
I'm going on YouTube right now. So
all right. So while Dennis looks at that, I saw a tweet from Sasha Banks, and he was like, we got to work on your form a little bit. So hopefully he'll get some pointers from Sasha Banks before he goes back on AEW. But hopefully Sasha doesn't get in hot water for interacting with somebody that was on AEW television because, that's all BS.
Who was Snoop there with?
What, with Cody?
Add him to my list. Cody Rhodes.
Super Cody.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
Hey, that's not a bad pick right there. All right, Dennis, tell me when you found that because I kind of want to know now.
Yeah, I'm watching the video right now. I'm trying to get to afterwards and stuff here.
Okay. So. Before we move on, did you guys get a chance to watch the Go Big show?
Yes.
Jovan, tell me, is it worth the hype?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean,
hey, Jovan.
Yeah.
It was the top rope.
What?
Yeah, it was the top rope. So
I was 99% sure it was the middle rope.
Well, you were 99% wrong there, buddy.
Oh.
Ooh, my bad memory.
Just go on YouTube, type Snoop Dogg Frog Splash. It's the first thing on there. So,
anyways, back to the Go Big show.
Yeah.
Now he's gonna brush it off because he was wrong.
I'll own it. I was wrong. Snoop Dogg got to the top, but he didn't do shit from there.
Yeah, he did. It was just bad shit.
Such bad shit.
That's bad shit.
But the Go Big show, man, there was a couple of acts on there that I was like, oh crap, that thing was wild. I think like the Nitro Circus dude was cool, like the BMXer who did these big jumps. That was pretty pimp. But there was this one dude. It was a matchup against a magician and a carny, pretty much like an old school freak. And oh my god, that right there, those two going against each other was amazing. You got to watch it.
All right. So from Jovanni to Hotty, his recommendation is watch the Go Big show on TBS. I think Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Do it now.
Okay, so
Get to the top. I mean, get to the TV.
Oh my
Get
god!
to the big show.
Get to the big show. Okay. All right. So after that, we had the only women's match on the card. It was AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida versus Abaddon, which we know Jovan is a huge fan of. Okay, so this match was interesting. They went back to the story how Abaddon, was trying to bite Shida. So throughout the match, Abaddon attempted to bite Shida multiple times, and she was doing like the fake blood stuff all over her, and that kind of weared her down. And so, Abaddon was just trying to use like scare factor and everything and doing all this stuff. And they even at one point went under the ring. But then Shida, found the courage. She pulled out the tough victory and she won the title or retained the title. I don't know about y'all. Yeah. I don't know about y'all. That was probably the weakest part of the show, that match.
I'd agree with
wrong
that.
person won that match.
Wait, did you say the wrong person won that match?
Yes, I did.
You think Abaddon should have won the match and got the title?
I'm willing to die on that cross, like they say in Such Good Shoot. The whole scare tactics, Abaddon making Shida actually look human because she's kind of got this super Shida aura about her.
Yeah.
This was the match for her to lose that title. Even if it's momentarily, just to give Abaddon a bit of a rub because she's got this otherworldly force thing about her.
Yeah.
You could have totally played with into that and had Shida succumb to her fear. Instead, Shida finds the will to hit her big-time moves and continues as champ.
Yeah.
To me, that was a misstep, especially with Dr. DMD, which we'll speak on in a minute.
Yeah.
Tied up in another feud right now. There's no one that's viable to have Shida go right now. And why wouldn't you put the belt on the first person to actually make her look human in a while?
So that's a hot take from Jovan because I know me and Dennis don't feel that way because,
I don't agree. Like, I think Shida winning was the right call, but you made a really good case for your point, Jovan. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
All right. So speaking of Dr. DMD, she was supposed to have a match on night 2, but unfortunately, due to some circumstances that happened with Thunder Rosa, who came in contact with someone with COVID-19, that match is now officially off. Will be scheduled at a later date. So next week on night 2 of New Year's Smash, we're going to have the debut of the Waiting Room with I think Cody's going to be on that, right?
Cody and Brandy, I believe.
Cody and Brandy, probably to talk about the baby or something.
The baby.
That baby don't get enough time already, and he hasn't even been born yet.
Hey, the baby has his own merch.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, where's my -1 merch?
That's right. Where's the -1 merch?
Yeah, -1 is in the hottest feud on pro wrestling right now, and that's against Marco Stunt.
You know what happened? It's on Dark, and nobody watches Dark.
No, they put it on the show.
I saw that promo though, and man, that kid is good.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if you guys know or any of our listeners or viewers know. but that promo was 100% written by Brody Lee Jr. -1. So everything that was said, he wrote his own words, and he's only like 8 or 10, whatever he is. So it's good to see him like already doing this at a young age. Bright future ahead for -1.
8-year-old kid does a promo better than 95% of the WWE roster.
Oh my God! Welcome to this episode of the Junkyard, man, where we just bury the hell out of WWE this week.
It was not a bad week for them.
And I want to set the record straight. We're not doing this because we're anti-WWE. We're not WWE haters. So all you WWE fan diehards out there that are listening to this, I'm squashing that right now. I've said this many times before. We want every single promotion to be doing well. So if you're gonna sit there and accuse us of being WWE haters, then you just don't get it and stuff. So, but yeah, we want the WWE to be good. It's so bad right now. We're voicing our opinions.
Take off your rose-colored glasses, WWE fanboys. Last week was horrible. If you like anything, that's right.
All right, so let's move on here. So before we get to the main event, because there's one promo I want to talk about, we had the announcement. So that match with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa was off. So we needed to put another match in there. So we got the announcement that it's going to be Serena Deeb, the NWA Women's Champion, against Ty Conti of the Dark Order. That's right. Ty Conti has officially joined the Dark Order. She did a promo with John Silver, with Alex Reynolds, with Anna Jay. Hello. Basically saying, yep, I'm coming after your title, Serena. And then Anna Jay was like, hey, yeah, she's going to have the whole Dark Order with her and everything. So that officially confirms we have a brand new member of the Dark Order, Ty Conti.
Hey, Jovanni, real quick, do you have any more words for Mr. Conti?
Only thing I want to tell Mr. Conti, and I guess since we're going to double down on the Legends night, is I want him to say his prayers and eat his vitamins, because when I run into him, he's going to go 1-on-1 with the hot one.
What you gonna do when Guapo Mania runs wild on you?
That's right, DDJ brother. You better ask Mr. Conti what you're gonna do, brother, when El Guapo Too Hotty runs wild on you, brother. Oh
my God. That was the greatest thing in the short history of the Junkyard.
Hey, Jovanni. High five.
High five.
High five.
Oh my God. Okay, what were you going to say, Jovan?
I was just going to say that I'm an official card holder now of the Dark Order. I've always been Dark Order affiliate, but I'm all the way there now because of Ty Conti. She's there.
That's my man right there. Get on board the train. I love it.
That's it. And just a quick shout out, Mr. Conti. I done did that rip on you. You can find me and you at Talking Shop Mania 3. If you're down, I'm down. But we'll see what happens.
God, man, Talking Shop Mania 3 is going to be amazing. We got you versus Ty Conti's husband. And then if you're following our chats, we're going to have Jacob versus Tim Tobin in a Punjabi prison match.
The most horrible invention of Earth, the Punjabi prison.
Oh, my God. All right. That's not where I even thought. Yeah, you guys can do commentary, and I'll just be there because it'll be filmed in Georgia, so I can just go down to Lou Gallows' house. But hey, I can be one of your misfits there. All right. Enough fun and games. Let's get on to our main event because we're getting into the Go Big Show part of the night. All right, so we had Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, made his entrance. You know, he's from the great state of North Carolina.
Shout out to fellow pro wrestling junkie Hunter Rayner.
Don't shout out Hunter.
Oh, come on, man. I had to help him up, you know. I mean, I literally destroyed him on trivia last week, so
the Junkyard would like to formally bring back a takeout to Hunter Raynor. It is our first take back.
my whole thing is not about Hunter, but the North Carolina thing is like, why is that not a T-shirt? That already should have been a T-shirt, especially with AEW being just a T-shirt company. You're missing the boat on that one. But then, of course, he did the whole Cleaner Girls and everything. Then Ray Phoenix came out. Okay, so this match, great match. I think Dave Meltzer did give it 5 stars. They did some.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I was shocked, honestly. Don't get me wrong. Again, this is a good match. They did great. It felt like it was missing something, so I don't think it deserved the 5 stars. But that's how Dave Meltzer wants to rate stuff. But great match. Yeah, great match. Go back and watch this if you didn't watch AEW. Those two just put on hell of spots and everything. Some brutal stuff. Kenny Omega really starting to look like the guy from New Japan, the cleaner. Putting some stiff stuff in there. Go ahead and talk about the match. We'll save the after effects for just a minute.
Honestly, I enjoyed this match more than I think the match that they had at Triple Mania.
Yes,
it felt like there was a little bit more to it, and maybe it's because there were actually people there, and also it was on it was on nationwide TV versus pay-per-view. I don't know, but it just felt like that this match was better than the match they had at Triple Mania, which by all means was not a bad match because the three of us watched that together, stuff.
DDJ.
Yeah, I was about to say,
that was Laredo Kid, not Phoenix.
I'm done.
We would like to wish.
I can't believe. Wow.
We would like to wish DDJ the best on his future endeavors.
Sidebars, they actually have gone at it in AAA before, so I'm going to say DDJ with that one. This is not by far their first matchup because Omega won the Mega Championship from Rey Fenix, but that wasn't at AAA Mania. That was a while ago.
Okay, well, it was better than the match I saw at Triple Mania. I'm standing by my statement. I just had the wrong wrestler. Wow.
But like I said,
here I come.
This was still the best matchup that they've had together. They honestly are very fluid together already. They kind of have that feeling out for each other where they know their spots. And man, they just made each other look like $1,000, man. They really, really was a great match. Hard hitting. Phoenix takes some of the best bumps of all time. Like even when like a good stiff V trigger, he sells the hell out of it. Kind of sad. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say a couple of things about Rey Fenix. That guy is amazing on the ropes. The things he can do with those ropes. Yes. And here's another hot take for me on Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix is this generation's Rey Mysterio.
Oh wow, I like it.
So
I like it a lot.
I wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah, right.
I was just gonna finish up with I'm kind of sad that AAA and Rey Fenix are kind of having their disagreements right now, so we may see another name change for him, kind of like Pentagon Jr. has to become Penta L0M. Yeah. Rey Fenix also may be losing his name very soon.
Stupid.
Yeah, I hate that, dude. I hate when promotion owns your name.
Yeah. Would he just go back? Do they own Rey Fenix or did they own just Phoenix as well? Because I know he was. Well, wait, no. Lucha Underground was owned by AAA, so I guess that really doesn't matter. So
yeah, he was Rey Fenix there. That's why Pentagon was also able to be Pentagon Jr.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stupid. Pentagon, Penta L0M, and who knows what Rey Fenix does now.
But you know what though? I could easily see because he seems to be doing this to get rights to songs. I could easily see Tony Khan maybe throwing some money AAA's way to maybe get the rights to the name.
Yeah, it could happen.
I'm just saying. I mean, just because he spent money, bought the rights to Old 55 for the the Brody Lee tribute, and then he just recently bought the rights to Tarzan Boy for Jungle Boy. So if he gets right down to it, I could see him doing something like that because Tony Khan's the kind of guy.
Yeah.
So, but all in all, great match, great main event, but that wasn't even the best part of that whole.
Give the people what they want, man. They've waited for it.
Yeah, wait no more. Jovan Spencer, take it away.
All right. So, in conclusion of that match, Kenny Omega goes over, hits the one-wing angel. No one kicks out of the one-wing angel. Done. Kenny Omega's still the AEW champion. So then Don Callis comes to the ring. It's like, hey, I told you nobody was coming. I told you Penta and Pac weren't coming. We cut to the back. They're knocked out. They're getting attacked by Butcher and the Blade. They're taken care of. They're done. They can't come to the ring to help Rey Fenix. So then there's, I think it was right when it happened. There's two individuals that come out to the ring, and that would be the Good Brothers.
But real quick before you do that,
yeah,
there was someone who did come out to the ring that led to the arrival of Anderson and Gallows, and that would be Mr. One, John Moxley, wielding a barbed wire.
That's right. Thank you. I knew I was messing up details. Yes, John Moxley came out with a barbed wire bat to attack Kenny.
He was channeling his inner Negan.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then, as I alluded to, and I forgot, the Good Brothers come out, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, with Impact Tag Team Championships on, showing off the Impact Gold. They come out to help their brother, Kenny Omega, and take out John Moxley. So then, while that's all going down, the Young Bucks are coming out. And hold on, I think there was one more team that came out, right?
Well, there was also all the guys that were in the audience, like down.
That's right. Thank you.
They were the ones that had the whatever the team they're calling Brian Pillman Jr. and
the Varsity Blondes.
Thank you. And then you had like Ryzen and basically all the wrestlers that were seated ringside and stuff came out and tried to help out, and they were getting wasted. And then
okay, thank you. So yes, all those wrestlers came out. They tried to do it like, what are you guys doing here? You're not supposed to be here. This is an AEW show, not Impact. So they try to come in, and then of course the Bucks come in, and they're like, guys, what are you doing here? So that they think they're gonna start fighting the Good Brothers and Kenny and everything. But oh no. The Young Bucks, they have like two wrestlers, whatever. They're set up, and you think they're gonna super kick Gallows and Anderson. No, they super kick the other wrestlers.
No.
No. That like Dikembe Mutombo.
You got the reference, thank God.
It took me a minute. I was trying to remember the name. I was thinking of the Geico commercial with him.
Mutombo.
Yeah. So then the Young Bucks kick the other wrestlers, and then it's like, wait, what's going on? And then Kenny and Gallows and Anderson, they throw up the Too Sweet in the middle of the ring, and then they're like, hey guys, join us with this one. And then Nick and Matt are just like, I don't know. And then they're just like, screw it. And they all throw up the Too Sweet with the reformation of, AEW and Impact's version of the Bullet Club with Kenny Omega, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, Nick Jackson, and Matt Jackson. And Don Callis is just loving it. He's like, yes! And it's just awesome. Then, we got the announcement. It's going to be Kenny Omega and two world champions. It's two best friends in a tag match. So it'll be interesting, to see if who does he pick, Gallows and Anderson or the Young Bucks to go in that match? They left that very vague. And then, of course, Pro Wrestling Tee, we were all like, we need a T-shirt. There's a T-shirt that was featured on the site with like the Too Sweet and AJ Styles and all of them. They basically remade that shirt. It says For Life. It's got that moment on a T-shirt with the Too Sweet. I think it's probably one of the hottest sellers of the week, or at least up there with all the Brody stuff up there.
It's on the. It's not even close to number one because of all the Brody Lee stuff still. But yeah, it's one of their top sellers right now.
Right, and if there wasn't all those shirts, which rightfully they should be, but that shirt is definitely that's another Insta buy, which I definitely will be getting, possibly if we win the 3-on-3.
If we win the 3-on-3, or when we win the 3-on-3,
there you go.
That's gonna be. I think it's gonna be. I think that's what we should all give because, and it's not a matter of if. It's gonna be when.
Yeah, right. And you know what, guys? When we win, it'll be just too sweet.
Yes,
but what a hell of a way to go out on AEW. I know, like the ratings went down, like we said, with everything that went on. But just
we're not going to even talk about that because I don't want to revisit that. But
we're not talking about that on
related. Here. It never happened.
No, it never did. But just the fact that this is happening, there was all the rumors and everything, and they parried it on BT and even Takahashi Mania a little bit. these Good Brothers were supposed to go to AEW, but then the WWE and Triple H offered them more money. Then, of course, they stayed because they were idiots at the time. But then they got released because of the pandemic. Then they came to Impact, which they've been killing it. Then they became the champions.
Yep.
And this opportunity arose where there's this crossover with Impact and AEW. And now the Good Brothers are on AEW television and will probably have a presence on AEW television, at least for a good bit. So it's very interesting to see everything's coming full circle. And I'll let you guys get your points in here in a minute. There was a moment that happened, and somebody posted about it, where at AEW All Out, after Kenny Omega and Hangman lost the titles, Kenny Omega, he was like, "I'm done with you, Hangman." Walked out to the ring, got in the SUV, the black SUV. That's the one I think with Don Callis was in. The Young Bucks were coming out like, "Kenny, what's going on?" And then Kenny was like, "Guys, get in this van. If you get in this van right now, there's no turning back." And they didn't at the time. This is coming back like 2-3 months later, coming back to that storyline. They got in the van. They joined the club.
I didn't even think about that. That's wow,
man. Long-term storytelling.
Yeah,
I know.
Who'd have thunk?
It's all it takes to make us happy.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to call out, and I think it was Chris Jericho, and this is one of the reasons why I love AEW's commentary so much, because they did a lot of this during the Brody Lee tribute show with like pointing out all the little details and stuff. Jericho pointed out when the Good Brothers show was like, "Oh, you guys screwed AEW." Like he actually made a point to reference them, re-signing with the WWE when they were supposed to be coming to AEW. And I just like things like that is why I love AEW's commentary team so much.
Yeah, they were supposed to be in the inner circle.
Yeah, they were supposed to debut with Jericho, take out the Elite and everything on the debut episode back in Washington, D.C. It would have been interesting to see where they go with that. But now that we're at where we are, I'm fine with the way it's going now. So, gentlemen, we have talked so much wrestling because there was a lot that happened this week. Yeah. Some bad, some good, some great, some shocking. It went the whole spectrum. So, are there any final thoughts before we move on to the highly anticipated new segment we're debuting here?
The butts.
Guys, this is why we're fans of wrestling. This whole week in general, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, and the hungies. This is why we're fans.
Yes, I couldn't have said that any better myself.
Thank you.
I like the shout out to the hungy. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, hey, I told you I'm all in with Dark Order now.
That warms my heart right here. My cold black purple heart there.
Cold black purple heart. Wow.
I know, man.
I'll get checked out at a doctor or something.
No, it just beats Join the Dark Order. Join the Dark Order. But yeah, guys, extended segment with what happened this week in wrestling, but it was important to go over everything. So if you didn't watch any wrestling, just listen to the Junkyard for the past 2 hours and you'll be good to go. But then go watch wrestling because it's been amazing this week for the most part.
Yeah, listen to the first because we're coming up almost on 2 hours already. If you listen to this first part of the show and you go talk to your friends and you can sound like you know what you're talking about.
See, yeah, we got you covered here on the Junkyard.
We got your backs, guys.
That's right. And then you can also go back and see how many times Jovan put somebody on his list.
It's getting big.
It's getting way bigger. All right. So.
Wait, the list or something else?
That's right.
All right. So. All right.
Okay, let's go on because it's getting off the rails.
Yeah. We've been off the rails. All right. So, guys. We have a brand new segment we're going to debut for you. Usually this is where we do our weekly roundtable, but we're going to try something a little different here this week. Yes. And this is a segment that our own Dennis Day Jr., DDJ of What Do You Say with DDJ fame, came up with called What Would I Do If I Had the Pencil? All right, Dennis, since this is your brainchild, tell the people what this is all going to be about.
All right, so all of us are guilty of being, and this doesn't just apply to pro wrestling. It applies to football, bats, all major sports, everything. It's, it's basically we're playing Monday morning quarterback here. We all think we know what's going on or whatever, when it's like football's like, oh, they should have played this guy or they should have, threw the ball instead of running the ball.
Yeah.
You all right there, Jovan?
I'm good. Keep on going, buddy.
For those of you who are watching this on YouTube or not watching this on YouTube, Jovanni basically mouthed two words I'm not going to say, and he is doubled over right now. So I'm assuming he smacked something and doesn't feel good. So while he's doubling over in pain, I'm going to explain what this concept is. So a lot of times in professional wrestling, we see storylines on TV. We see booking decisions made that we think don't make any sense. And we kind of try to play, if I had the pencil, this is what I would do. So basically what this segment is going to be is each one of us is going to take something that happened in the world of professional wrestling, a storyline or something, or a portion of basically, and rebook it in our way. And hopefully you guys think it would have turned out better. So I'm going to start out right now. So for me, for my first segment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you back to 1993. A gentleman by the name of Lex Luger, who is one of my favorites, had just came over from the now defunct World Bodybuilding Federation and officially became a full-time wrestler with the WWF. He made his debut at the Royal Rumble as the Narcissist. He was brought in by Bobby the Brain Heenan, I believe, to take out Mr. Perfect, who had unceremoniously dumped him as a manager, confidant, whatever you want to call him, shortly before Survivor Series a couple months before. He had a little bit of a run, including a win over Mr. Perfect at WrestleMania 9, and then he kind of really didn't do too much after that. And he would go on to show up on July 4th of 1993 on the USS Intrepid as the last entrant in the Body Slam Challenge that Yokozuna had put out, where he said no man could slam him. Luger slammed him and would go on to crisscross the US of A in the mighty Lex Express, and that would culminate into a match at SummerSlam 1993. Where it was laid out where it was Luger's only chance. He wasn't going to get a rematch and all that. Fast forward to the night. Luger wins, but he wins by a count out. But yet, for some strange reason, they decide to do the full-blown celebration where all the wrestlers come out. They put Luger on his shoulders, the balloons, the streamers, everything falls out. And if you didn't know any better, you thought he would have won the title. Then basically that kind of slowly began the descent of Lex Luger to where he wound up in the WWF. So yeah, this is one thing that's always stuck out with me because I think they could have done so much better with this. And this is how, if I had the pencil, I would have booked this. Go back to WrestleMania 9. Bret Hart just lost the WWF title to Yokozuna. Hulk Hogan came out to help Bret Hart. Mr. Fuji started talking smack. Next thing you know, Hogan's in a match, wins the title, would go on to lose the rematch at King of the Ring. And then that takes us to SummerSlam. What I would do is Hulk Hogan does not even show up in that match. Bret Hart loses, Yoko wins the belt. That's how WrestleMania ends. Yoko goes on a roll. He tears through everybody like he was doing. He goes through the King of the Ring. They maybe do a rematch with Bret, and he goes over again. We go to the 4th of July thing. Luger comes out, does the body slam. That stays the same. You go to SummerSlam. Luger wins that match, but he beats Yoko clean in the ring, knocking him out with that forearm. You get the whole Tinker Tape celebration. All the wrestlers come out, everything. Luger goes on to hold that title till Survivor Series. They have one more match between Luger and Yoko. Yoko wins the belt back, and then he has his program with Taker that takes him to the Royal Rumble, and then, eventually to WrestleMania, that kind of thing. To me, it makes more sense because having Luger win by countout at SummerSlam 1993 made absolutely no sense. It accomplished nothing. It looked stupid. He won the match. He didn't win the title, but yet he's being paraded around the ring like he won the title. And I'm thinking in my mind, this makes absolutely no sense. So yeah, so if I had the pencil, I would have booked Yoko to win at Mania, no appearance by Hogan afterwards. Yoko beats Bret in a rematch at King of the Ring. Yoko gets slammed by Luger at on the Intrepid on the 4th of July to set up the match at SummerSlam. Luger gets the belt at SummerSlam. He drops it to Yoko at Survivor Series, and then Yoko and Taker go on to have their program.
All right. I like it.
So
this is funny. You took Hogan out of the equation in that one. And if I had the pencil, gentlemen, we're going back to March 17th, 2002. You guys remember what that was? That was the date of the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania 18, baby.
all right.
Classic match, Icon versus Icon. Hulk Hogan versus Dwayne the Johnson Rock.
I'm assuming that was intentional.
It was.
Okay. Was that how you would book The Rock now? You just call him the Johnson?
That's right, the Johnson.
Carry on.
If I had the pencil, Icon versus Icon never happens.
Ooh.
I'm taking Dwayne the Rock Johnson out of the equation and inputting somebody that the spot actually would have benefited. I'm not going to put in a part-timer who 2 years later is going to leave the WWE and go to show business. Granted, in 2002, did they know he was leaving? Probably not, but he was already on the latter side of his career.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make sense for the great icon that is Hulk Hogan to give a rub to a wrestler who's not going to be there that longer. Gentlemen, if I had the pencil, Icon versus Icon would have become Icon versus Champion. The undisputed champion, Chris Jericho, versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Oh, I thought you were going a different direction with that.
Man, look. This would have been the passing of the guard that should have happened. Because it always feels like that gap between Hogan and Cena, there was no one that took that torch. It kind of floundered until Ruthless Aggression.
Yeah.
This would have been the perfect way for a young Chris Jericho, not only not to lose to Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He shouldn't have lost the Undisputed belt that night to Triple H in Ontario. Makes no damn sense. But 2, you get the rub from the biggest name in wrestling. You're already the undisputed champion. You're the first ever undisputed champion, and would have squashed anything that anybody would have ever said about him becoming champion. Would have been beating the icon that is Hulk Hogan. Mm-hmm. That would have given you a perfect transitional guy to when Chris Jericho faces CM Punk, when Chris Jericho faces John Cena. These guys this is how you pass the torch in the business. You give it to the next runner-up.
Yeah.
You don't pass it to someone who's going to go off and leave the company or stop wrestling altogether, because then what happens? We're stuck without the guy. And while, yes, Chris Jericho has had a hell of a career, bona fide Hall of Famer, that match, had it been Hogan and Jericho in Toronto with Jericho going over, that would have set a whole different kind of history in the wrestling books. That's what I would have done had I had the pencil.
Very good.
Very interesting in that one for sure. Because The Rock versus Hogan, like, people regard that as like one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. And especially there was that double turn that wasn't even expected. Everybody was like, oh, Hogan's supposed to be the heel, but the crowd wanted him so bad, so they basically just turned it, and then Rock became the heel in that match. So very interesting to see that you slotted Jericho in that spot. Again, he's had a great career, easily probably one of the greatest of all time to ever do it. But, getting that rub in that match and getting the win against Hogan, it would be crazy.
Yep. It would have put him on a whole nother level. It would have at least given us someone that we could say, this is the man right now, and this is where the rest of the future stars jump off of, instead of having to have everybody hate Cena because they felt like he didn't really earn it.
Yeah. Okay. That's a very good, interesting take. And then Dennis, you had a good one too with Luger. So we've did the past a little bit in the 90s, had a little bit early 2000s. Let's go a little bit more recent with my pick. I had another one in mind, but kind of talking in this episode, I thought of another one, and you guys will probably remember this one. You'll probably actually see where I'm going with this one. But I want to take you back to 2016. We'll start off at SummerSlam. It was the Universal Championship match between Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. Finn Balor goes over Seth Rollins. Finn Balor gets injured in that match. He has to relinquish the title. There is a fatal four-way match that happens the next week. I think it was Owens, Big Cass, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Yeah, they fight for the title. Triple H comes out. You think he's going to help Seth Rollins win the title, but no, he turns his back on Seth Rollins, helps Kevin Owens win the title. Kevin Owens is your new Universal Champion. So, going for the next 4 or 5 months, because this was in August, you had Kevin Owens. He defended his Universal Championship, but he always had somebody with him at the time, and that was the guy that Jovan mentioned, Chris Jericho. Those two were at the hip. They were best friends. They put on some of the best stuff I've seen in both careers at the time. The list was introduced. Jericho got a scarf over. He got the word "it" over. This is when I was getting back into wrestling at the time. I was like, wow, this is really good stuff. And, Kevin Owens.
Idiot over at this time, too?
Huh?
Wasn't Stupid Idiot over at this time?
Stupid Idiot was over. He was getting everything over. And then shout out to Jimmy Jacobs, too. That also helped with that storyline and everything that happened after. So those two, Jericho was helping Owens retain the Universal Championship, with Rollins and Reigns and all these other people he was facing. So then we got to, in January and February, we got to a moment where, there was always, you knew there was going to be a breakup eventually with Jericho and Owens, but you didn't know when it was coming. So then there was a very big moment that happened on a Monday Night Raw in Las Vegas, the famous Festival of Friendship.
Yes.
Probably one of the greatest segments I've seen on Raw in a very long time. You had, this big celebration. Jericho comes out, gives Kevin Owens all these amazing gifts. And then Kevin Owens is like, hey, I got a gift for you too, Chris. He pulls up a list, because Jericho was carrying a list at the time, picks it up, and Jericho's like, why is my name on this? He picks it up, says the list of KO. KO attacks him, buckle power bombs him on the apron. Jericho's out. So then Kevin Owens, he is put in a match at Fastlane against Goldberg. And there's these promos, and it's like, oh man, Kevin Owens, he's going to beat Goldberg. It's going to put him over big time, No. Goldberg wins at Fastlane. He takes the Universal title. We go on to have Goldberg versus Brock at Mania. Chris Jericho is United States champion at the time. So it's like, okay, we'll have them feud over the United States championship. So it's Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens at Mania. They're match 2 on the card. Kevin Owens wins the title for the first time. So KO is the new United States champion. Then they feud a little bit after. Then Jericho leaves to go on tour with Fozzy or whatever. Gentlemen, if I had the pencil, Kevin Owens would not have lost to Goldberg at Fastlane and have retained the Universal Championship. And he would have dropped that belt, would have actually retained it, and Jericho could have won it, and then he could have won it back or something. They could eventually did what they did. But having Owens lose that match against Goldberg, and I looked up, it's 22 seconds because he did a lot of outside stuff before the bell. Having him lose that match, and then having the hottest feud and the hottest storyline going on in WWE at that time, and having them just fight for the United States Championship, it took, I was still very invested in that storyline, but that should have been that honestly should have been the match that main evented that card, because that was the hottest thing going on in wrestling at the time, and just putting that, and that's the whole start of Goldberg winning the top titles and everything, because of course a few years later he won it off the Fiend, and of course we had that crap, but just having this legend go over this guy that definitely needed the win to get the momentum. This could, like right now, Kevin Owens, he's having an okay career. He had some good stuff with AJ Styles for the United States Championship. But just imagine if Kevin Owens would have beat Goldberg, he would have went into Mania as the Universal Champion. There's no telling where Kevin Owens would be right now in his career. He could possibly still be in the same spot. But I think, and then getting like a big win over Chris Jericho, a legend who Jovan mentioned, like, getting that rub. And Jericho, by now, he was a legend, getting that rub. How much that would have done for Kevin Owens. So if I would have had the pencil, Kevin Owens would have beat Goldberg at Fastlane before WrestleMania 33. And
correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this basically this whole scenario that you just laid out one of the reasons why Jericho basically no longer has anything to do with WWE?
I believe so.
I think that's definitely one of them for sure. So right. Again, this series is like, what would we do if we had the pencil? Like, and that decision, if that was done, who knows if Jericho would even be in AEW? Like, there's no telling. But I just think it was the wrong call. That should have been Kevin Owens to go over Goldberg. Possibly, maybe Jericho could have landed up in AEW because things happen for a reason. I do believe that. But I do think if Kevin Owens would have retained the Universal Championship, he would have beat Jericho at Mania. He would have lost it later, of course, because they would have put it back on Roman because Roman was the hottest thing at the time. He not like he is now, but like when he was being forced down our throats. But just having Kevin Owens get that win over Goldberg, get the big win at Mania, would have done wonders for his career. So that's what I would do if I had the pencil.
Good. So
I like it.
Job. I like that too.
We did really well with the debut. Debut.
Okay, so I know we said we're going to do one each, but if anybody, because we got a little bit of time left here, if you got one more, let's hear it.
I'm good with letting them wait. If DDJ, you got one.
Well, yeah, I think one is enough because we still got to take one more trip before we call it a night.
Okay.
And that's, guys, just real quick, please let us know what you think. Post in the Pro Wrestling Junkies Facebook group. Reach out to us. On Facebook or Twitter and stuff. Let us know what you think, and if you guys got some suggestions or something like that you want to throw our way, maybe we could do like in one where we pick ones like from a random fan or something like that and stuff. We'll go from there, but I think one is enough. Let's see what the people think about it, and if the reactions over is positive, we'll bring it back somewhere down the line,
somewhere down the road.
Yeah,
somewhere down the road. All right, so we've got a little bit long this episode. We've talked about what we would do if we had the pencil. Got to get one more thing in before we call the night here in the Junkyard. So, gentlemen, Professors Jovanni, Hotty, and DDJ, it's time to take a trip to class. All right. So, it's time to go to class. Do a little bit of learning here. So, we've kind of been mentioning a few things throughout this episode. Multiple ways I could go with this one this week. But before we start, guys, give me your guess of who you think I'm going with. All right, so let me see. So Jovan has the Young Bucks. Dennis has Kenny Omega. All right, so we're kind of going a little bit new school here, not even trying to put some old school stuff in to the equation. All right. So this,
you know what? I honestly think Spencer's probably going to pick someone other than we have, Jovan, so he can say he got us again.
I think so too.
Wow, you guys just don't think I have anybody? I'm just doing this to trick you right now and just stalling for time? Wow, that's just rude. You're supposed to be nice to your students. See, even the dog agrees.
Damn.
All right, Spencer, who do you got?
All right, so this week's classroom hero, Kenny Omega.
Yes. Bang, bang.
Yeah, I'm giving you one this week.
All right. So I'm gonna start strong with this. This match here is in my top 5 personal favorite matches of all time. It is a match that I kind of alluded to when we had Kenny Omega on the markout recently.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm just gonna get right to it because I know we're kind of getting a little short on time here. I'm gonna go with from New Japan Pro Wrestling's 2018 Dominion show. I'm gonna go with Kenny Omega versus Okada number 4, and that is the 2 out of 3 falls match that went over an hour. And that is the match where Kenny Omega finally beat Okada to win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. To me, what personifies me and exemplifies why I love this sport we call professional wrestling is this match right here. That's all I'm gonna say about that match because any other words wouldn't do this match justice. So Omega Okada number 4 from New Japan Dominion 2018 is my first match.
All right.
All right,
guys, please do yourself a service and go watch that banger of a match.
Yes.
Mine is also in New Japan, and I'm going back to the J1, I believe 2018, and I'm going with Kenny Omega versus Tomohiro Ishii.
Ooh.
Ishii is a personal favorite of mine, just his strong style. He looks like he's trying to kill you when you wrestle.
Right.
And throw that in with the best Bout Machine. These guys had some of the hardest hitting matches I've seen.
Yeah.
The V triggers in that match were extra crisp. Give that a watch, man. Tomohiro Ishii and Kenny Omega.
All right.
All right. My next match is one of my favorite tag team matches of all time. It's it's not the match you guys may be thinking of because I think I know where you might be going. I'm going to go with a little match that actually came, if I'm not mistaken, it was not long before Omega won. It's a couple months before he won the title. And that was a match, and this was during the whole Bullet Club is Fine time frame.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go from New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Style Evolve show. It was the Golden Lovers versus the Young Bucks.
Yes.
That match up until that point, and it is what that match, when I saw that match, that instantly became my favorite tag team match of all time. And it was just an amazing match between these 4 guys. They went something along the lines of almost 40 minutes. I think it was like 39 minutes and it was kind of like, if Webster's dictionary had to put had to define tag team wrestling, a picture of this match would be part of that definition. So guys, go check out New Japan Pro Wrestling's Strong Style Evolve show from 2018, the Young Bucks versus the Golden Lovers.
All right.
2018 must have been a hell of a year, and doubling down even more, this G1 was the G1 of Kenny Omega. I already told you Kenny Omega and Ishii from that year was my favorite match of ECE and Omega's. Double it down. This is what started the Kenny Omega as the cleaner. This is actually when the cleaner, to me, broke out. And that is Kenny Omega versus Kota Ibushi, the G1 Climax.
Ooh.
2018.
All right.
One more, and I'm going to go with the obvious one now because this match here would go on to supplant my last match as my favorite tag team match of all time, and is the greatest match I have ever seen live.
That's your one per episode.
Well, whatever. This is my thing, and I'm going to say what I want. So I do what I want.
Cut his mic.
Oh, that's wrong. I'll just get right to it. It was from AEW Revolution. It was my pick for match of the year. of 2020. That's Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus the Young Bucks. That match, like I said, it's the plan of the Young Bucks versus the Golden Lovers is my favorite tag team match of all time. And this match would be the other match when it comes to writing the Webster's Dictionary definition on tag team wrestling. You have to include this match in that definition. So Bucks versus Omega and Hangman Page from AEW Revolution of 2020.
You can leave that match on. I think it was the best tag team match of all time. But here we go. My final pick comes from AEW.
Okay.
The Bastard Punk and the Iron Man match. The best show.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I see on TV.
I can't argue with that match. And again, just real quick, because we might have had a little bit of a technical difficulty there. Jovanni picked Kenny Omega versus the Bastard Pack in the 30-minute Iron Man match from an AEW Dynamite. I believe that was wasn't it the Go Home show to Revolution?
I think that was the Kansas City show, right?
Yeah.
That was the one right after the one I went to in Atlanta. Then they did that match. I'm like, you couldn't have done that there.
Okay, I could have sworn to Go Home to Revolution. So
yeah,
Kansas City got the Omega Pac match, which is, like I said, you would have ever seen.
Yeah, definitely that would have been a good one. Okay, so you guys have each, I think, got 3 each. I'm going to throw one out there. Dennis has already talked about the Okada and Omega feud. You did the 4th match, right?
Yes.
You did the 4th match. I want to give a special shout out to the first match is great. The one they did, I think it was Wrestle Kingdom 11.
2017.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that was great. That's the one that's the first one I saw in New Japan. I'm like, oh, wow, this is really good. I think that was a 7-star match. But then we got the one at Dominion, and that was the 60-minute draw. Okada Omega 2 at Dominion in 2017. That match, that's one that I will go back to and watch. There was so much storytelling. The ending point where Okada hits the Rainmaker and he can't cover Kenny in time, and we go to a draw. Then of course, the following year we have number 3 when they fight each other in the G1. Okada, I think Omega won that one.
Yeah, Omega got the win in that one.
Right. And then, of course, as Dennis said, we had Omega versus Okada 4. That's the one where he finally won the title. Honestly, go back and watch that whole series. Wrestle Kingdom 11, Dominion 2017, the G1, and I think the final one was at Dominion, right? 2018?
Yeah, it was 2018 was Okada Omega 4.
Okay. So, yeah, honestly, go back and watch all those because that just shows you how good a wrestler Kenny Omega is, and Okada too. Probably 2 of the greatest wrestlers alive today. So I highly recommend, if you have New Japan World, after you're done with Wrestle Kingdom, go watch those 4 matches and then come back to the Junkyard. We can talk.
Yes.
But yeah, I gave you an easy one this week. I've kind of been stumping you a few times, so you're welcome.
I still think.
Oh my God.
All right. So that's going to kind of wrap it up here for the Junkyard tonight. We had a jam-packed episode with everything that happened this week in wrestling. We had, I think, did pretty well in our debut episode of what I would do with the pencil. Talked about some Kenny Omega matches because you can never talk about Kenny Omega enough. So yeah, let's wrap this up and go on home. Guys, thank you for joining us for episode 11 of the Junkyard. We just lost our co-host here, but we'll finish this out. Me and DDJ here. So for myself, number 11, you can follow us on Pro Wrestling Junkies, PW_Junkies, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Look up Pro Wrestling Junkies on Facebook. join our Pro Wrestling Junkies marketplace. All these links will be in the description. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're making a big push for that. We just hit 100 subscribers as of this recording. Trying to get all our numbers up on that one. We got some good content coming up there. We got the pods up there. We got Let Me Out making its official debut soon. Dennis will be unbagging the micro brawlers. I'll be doing some elites and some other stuff. We'll be getting that content up for you guys on the YouTube.
Yes.
But yeah, make sure you do all that fun stuff. Then go to ProWrestlingTees.com. Look up Pro Wrestling Junkies. You can buy the shirt I'm wearing here, our official logo shirt. We also have the Be a Babyface, Not a Heel. And
That's
then
the one I got.
Nice. And then, I was on the virtual markout, which you can wear when you watch our virtual markout replay of Chris Statlander, which will have happened last night on Monday. But, guys, follow me on number 11 SC on the Twitter. Dennis, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Facebook under Dennis Day Jr. and on Twitter at Dennis W. Day Jr. And since we lost Jovanni, I will go ahead and give his handles. You can find him on Facebook under Jovan Menacho. That's Menacho. Basically, me Nacho.
Me Nacho.
Sound good. And then he's also on Twitter now as Giovanni Hotty. So, guys, again, thank you so much for listening. And again, we love to hear your feedback. We want to get you guys more involved because we do this for you guys. We don't do it for The Rock. So Spencer, take us home.
All right. Thank you again for joining us for another fantastic episode of the Junkyard. Until then, we'll see you next week. Junkies out.
Peace.